Chapter 302. The general of the Golden Scarf Army hurriedly looked up at the sky when he heard the tiger's roar. His pupils constricted as he shouted in shock. "That's a white tiger! How can there be a white tiger in the human world? A white tiger? Why is a white tiger here?" The deputy general stared blankly at the gigantic white tiger in the sky as he shouted in horror. He could feel the brutal and merciless killing intent. That killing intent made him tremble, and even his soul began to freeze. Damn it! That white tiger is hostile to us. Did the champion Marquis summon it? The general of the Golden Scarf Army clutched his heart as he spoke ferociously. "General, why don't we retreat first?" The deputy general stuttered as he swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Without Yi Chen's head, these soldiers who drank the talisman water would have died in vain. "Do you think General Heaven will spare us? Even the Marshal won't spare us, let alone General Heaven," the general of the Golden Scarf Army said with an ashen face. But this white tiger isn't something that can be dealt with by humans." The deputy general looked up at the white tiger in the sky and shuddered as he spoke. "Don't worry. The white tiger isn't something from the human world. It must be fake. Yes, it's fake." The general of the Golden Scarf Army tried his best to calm himself down as he shouted. At this moment, the white tiger landed on the ground and enveloped the Samsara Legion and Yi Chen. It then looked up at the fearless Golden Scarf Army soldiers who were still charging at it like madmen. Its eyes glinted fiercely. In the next second, the heaven-shaking roar sounded again. Roar. At this moment, the white tiger also leaped out. Then, it turned into a stream of light and disappeared in a flash. Bang, bang, bang. The sound of countless bodies exploding could be heard. Wherever the streak of light passed, the Golden Scarf Army soldiers disappeared without a trace, leaving behind a trail of blood. The white tiger killed 500,000 soldiers in an instant. The light disappeared and the white tiger appeared. Its large tiger eyes stared coldly at the Golden Scarf Army general and his deputy general. How could this be? How could this be? 500,000 soldiers. 500,000 soldiers gone just like that? The Golden Scarf Army general looked at the bloody mist in disbelief. General, let's run." When the deputy general saw the boundless blood mist, his complexion instantly became incomparably pale, and then he shouted in a trembling voice. "Yangla County city walls." Hiss! The sound of people sucking in cold air could be heard one after another. "Marquis Champion is so powerful," as expected of the Marquis Champion who took 2 hours to break through Pingcheng in the right north and flattened Wuhan in 1 day. "So powerful, with Marquis Champion, Yuzhou province will be safe for sure. Marquis Champion will kill anyone who dares to make trouble." The soldiers of the great Han dynasty began to discuss, and the more they talked, the more excited they became. This was because Yi Chen was the Yuzhou governor. With Yi Chen guarding Yuzhou, the Golden Scarf rebels were just a joke. Of course, the most important thing was that they were safe. They did not have to worry about being killed by the Golden Scarf Army after breaking through the city walls. The general looked at the excited soldiers on the city walls and was silent for a moment. Then he raised his arms and shouted, "Marquis Champion wins." In the next second, the soldiers on the city walls all shouted in unison, "Marquis Champion wins. Victory! Victory!" Yangla County city walls. When the Golden Scarf Army general heard the terrified shout of his deputy general, he nodded without hesitation and shouted, "Let's go!" He did not dare to stay any longer. If he stayed any longer, he would die without a burial ground. 500,000 gold scarf soldiers, and they were all gold scarf soldiers who had drunk the talisman water, were like ants in front of the white tiger. They were all killed in an instant. He only had a little bit of martial strength. He could not even deal with 100 people, let alone 500,000. If he did not run now, wouldn't he be courting death? "Motherfucker, I will never come to Yuzhou again." This place is too terrifying." Just as the Golden Scarf Army General was thinking about this, he saw a golden Pegasus from the corner of his eye. It instantly came to his side. He was stunned for a moment before hastily turning his head and shouting, "Marquis Champion, Yi Chen!" Yi Chen coldly looked at the Golden Scarf Army General and thrust his spear with his right hand. Poochie! A sound was heard. The Golden Scarf Army General's body was instantly pierced. He lowered his head to look at the Godslayer that had pierced a large hole in his body. His face instantly revealed an expression of extreme despair. He did not want to die. He wanted to live. However, his heart was pierced. How could he live? Bang! A loud sound was heard. The Golden Scarf Army General's body exploded into pieces. Broken limbs shot out in all directions. Blood mixed with internal organs splattered all over the Golden Scarf Army General's body. "I surrender! I surrender!" Seeing this, the Golden Scarf Army General's eyes suddenly shrank. He then screamed in horror. He never thought that Yi Chen's martial strength would actually be so high. Stabbing a deputy general to death was nothing. However, being able to shatter the deputy general's body into pieces after killing him was too terrifying. It was impossible to do this without extremely strong martial power and powerful skills. Even though he was not strong, he was still a general. He knew this very well. Hearing this, Yi Chen coldly smiled and waved the Godslayer in his right hand without hesitation. SSSSS. The Golden Scarf Army General's head instantly flew out. SSSS. A pillar of blood instantly shot up into the sky. The Golden Scarf Army General's head that was tumbling in the air suddenly opened its mouth wide. It then looked at the headless body with eyes full of horror. Bang! In the next second, a loud sound was heard. His body instantly exploded into pieces. Deep regret appeared in the Golden Scarf Army General's eyes before they turned into ashes. Rumble! The earth rumbled as the Samsara Legion arrived at Yi Chen's side. Rumble! Rumble! 10,000 horses galloped and the earth trembled. Zhao Yun, Dian Xiong, Gao Shun, and Zhao Meng led their troops here. Looking at the empty battlefield, Zhao Yun, Dian Xiong, and Zhao Meng were used to it. However, Gao Shun's face was full of shock. He had just followed Yi Chen and naturally did not know how terrifying the White Tiger formation was. When he came back to his senses, a loud roar sounded. "Long live the Lord! Long live the Lord! Long live the Lord!" The 400,000 soldiers of Samsara City raised their spears in unison and roared at the top of their voices. They were cheering for Yi Chen because their lord, Yi Chen, was unparalleled in the world. To be able to follow such a lord, they felt proud. Chapter 303. The corners of Yi Chen's lips curled up as he looked at the cheering and excited Samsara City's 400,000 soldiers. "These are my soldiers, loyal to me and willing to risk their lives for me. With them, the final winner of this Golden Turban Rebellion will be me, and I can only be me." Thinking of this, Yi Chen raised his eyebrows. Just then, a creaking sound was heard. The gate of Yangla County was opened. Yi Chen looked in the direction of the sound and saw the general of Yangla County riding a horse hurriedly running over. Yi Chen couldn't help but stare blankly when he saw the anxious look on the general's face. Guo Yi glanced at the general of Yangla County, then turned to Yi Chen and bowed, saying, "You're the magistrate of Yuzhou. Milord, you're the governor of Yuzhou province. Although you've not officially taken over Yuzhou province, all the officials in Yuzhou province are subordinate to you. This man is a city-guarding general. He's in charge of the military affairs in Yangla County. Milord, you can observe him." When Yi Chen heard this, his eyebrows involuntarily raised. After which, he chuckled and nodded. How could Yi Chen not understand Guo Yi's meaning? Guo Yi was telling Yi Chen to take this opportunity to observe the officials in all the cities in Yuzhou. He would keep the useful ones and replace the useless ones when he had time. Then, he would take complete control of the entire Yuzhou. Among them, the generals were the most important. After a few breaths, the general of Yangla County came to Yi Chen. After dismounting, he knelt down on one knee and said loudly, "Greetings, Marquis Champion. I'm Yen Ro." Hearing this, Yi Chen was stunned. Yen Ro, is she the Yen Ro who followed Cao Cao in the Battle of Guandu? Thinking of this, Yi Chen couldn't help looking at Yen Ro and then asked, "Yen Ro, why are you here? Yen Ro, why are you in such a hurry to see me?" This general has long heard of the champion Marquis's name. It is truly a blessing of 3 lifetimes to be able to meet you today. This general is not talented, but I am willing to follow the champion Marquis. Please take me in. Yen Ro did not hesitate to raise her hand and cup her fists together when she heard this. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chen, a first-rate historical general. Yen Ro wishes to acknowledge you as her master. Will you accept? Yi Chen's eyes widened when he heard the system notification. F***CK. It really was Yen Ro. Thinking of this, Yi Chen made his choice without hesitation. Accept. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chen for obtaining the loyalty of a first-rate historical general, Yen Ro. Hearing this, Yi Chen hurriedly dismounted and helped Yen Ro up. Then he laughed loudly and said, "With Yen Ro's help, Samsara City will be like a tiger that has grown wings." When Yen Ro heard this, she was overjoyed. She hurriedly bowed and said loudly, "Yen Ro greets the Lord." Yen Ro had long heard of Yi Chen's fame. However, when Yi Chen passed by Yangla County several times, Yen Ro had something to do and had no chance to meet him. Today, Yi Chen led his troops to eliminate the Golden Turban rebels in Yuzhou and came to Yangla County again. Yen Ro had seen Yi Chen's domineering and invincible power with her own eyes. At that moment, her desire to follow him became unshakable. However, Yi Chen was the governor of Yuzhou. It was impossible for him to stay in Yangla County. Yen Ro did not want to miss this opportunity. It was with this in mind that Yen Ro hurriedly left the city to visit Yi Chen and directly said that she wanted to follow Yi Chen. In fact, she was worried that Yi Chen would refuse to follow her, because she was a little young and had no reputation. However, to Yen Ro's surprise, Yi Chen accepted her directly and seemed to value her very much. How could Yen Ro not be excited? At this moment, a world announcement sounded. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chen for becoming the 3rd person to obtain the loyalty of a first-rate historical general, Yen Ro. Because of her special status, player Yi Chen is rewarded with 10 million gold. When the world announcement sounded, the lively world channel boiled over again. Holy shit! Are you kidding me? How could another first-rate historical general be accepted by Yi Chen? Damn, Yi Chen is cheating. He's definitely cheating. The previous battle achievements didn't move, but look, Yi Chen's battle achievements on the Great Han Dynasty's battle achievement ranking increased by 3 million. It's now 11 million. The battle achievement ranking has only been refreshed for a few minutes, and he accepted Yen Ro in the blink of an eye. I strongly despise cheating. Yen Ro is in Yuzhou. Boss Yi Chen is the Yuzhou governor. What's so strange about him accepting Yen Ro? She's just an idiot. If you're so awesome, go and accept her too. Boss Yi Chen is too awesome. He just took 1st place on the Great Han Dynasty's battle achievement ranking and then accepted Yen Ro. Ha ha ha, Golden Scarf Camp scum, I'll ask you one thing. Are you convinced? Yi Chen has always been so perverted. I'm already used to it. The ones who should be angry are you guys. Hee, one historical general after another has been taken away by Yi Chen. What can you guys from the Great Han faction do? Go be angry, go be envious, waha. Damn. Of course I'm envious, but I won't be angry. Damn, can I snatch Yi Chen's historical generals just because I'm angry? Of course not. However, the more historical generals Yi Chen accepts, the more unlucky the Golden Scarf Camp will be. That's for sure. Ha ha ha, you're right. As long as we defeat the Golden Scarf Camp, there will be plenty of rewards. Plenty my ass. If you want rewards, you have to kill Golden Scarf. If you don't kill Golden Scarf, you won't get any rewards. Kill Golden Scarf? Ha ha ha, I'll wait for you to kill him. When you see me, don't say that you don't dare to kill him. He will piss his pants in fright. Hee hee, the Golden Scarf camp is too awesome. The speed of their troops is simply too fast. I now have 10,000 Golden Scarf soldiers. You great Han camp scum, just wait for me to come. Damn you, stop arguing. Boss Yichen, can you see it? A large number of demons have appeared in Yuzhou. They've begun to gather. Boss Yichen, please send reinforcements quickly. Yichen, please help. There are too many demons. They're flying in the sky and running on the ground. They're overwhelming. If this goes on, Yuzhou will be finished. Yichen, can you see it? You're the Yuzhou governor. You can't just stand by and watch. Hurry up and send reinforcements. Otherwise, Yuzhou will fall. The World Channel was very lively. Yichen glanced at it and was about to ignore it when he heard the cries for help from the Yuzhou players. His eyes immediately narrowed. The demons have begun to gather now. How could it be so fast in Yichen's previous life? The gathering of the monster clans began in the middle of the Golden Turban Rebellion. In the early stage, the monster clans did their own thing. Now that the Golden Turban Rebellion had just begun, the gathering of the monster clans in Yuzhou was naturally abnormal. No, the demons are coming to cause trouble for me. They know that Yuzhou is my territory. These demon soldiers are really bold. Well, if they gather together, it will save me a lot of trouble. I can also sort out the players in Yuzhou and save myself the trouble. Thinking of this, Yichen raised his eyebrows. Then, he looked at Yen Rou and said, Yen Rou, continue to guard Yangla County. Although the Golden Scarf camp has been destroyed, don't let your guard down. There may be more Golden Scarf and demons. Yes, my lord. This general will protect Yangla County with all my strength. I won't let the Golden Scarf rebels or demons enter Yangla County. Hearing this, Yen Rou hurriedly bowed. Chapter 304. Yichen nodded in satisfaction when he saw Yen Rou's serious expression. He waved his right hand and 3 Earth-rank equipment appeared. Yen Rou was stunned when she saw this. Her eyes widened and she became excited. He was a general and naturally valued weapons and armors. They were related to his ability to fight and display his skills. The bow he used to shoot at the Golden Scarf Army General was only of silver rank. No matter how powerful it was, it couldn't hit the Golden Scarf Army General. Now that Yichen suddenly took out 3 Earth-rank equipment, it was obvious that these were for him. Yichen smiled faintly as he looked at the excited Yen Rou. He then handed the 3 pieces of equipment in his hand to Yen Rou. Thank you, Lord, for your gift. Yen Rou tried her best to calm her rapidly beating heart, then solemnly bowed. After she finished speaking, she received the 3 pieces of Earth-rank equipment from Yichen with both hands. Ding! Yen Rou's loyalty +10. Advanced to loyal. Yichen raised his eyebrows when he heard the system notification. He then looked at Yen Rou and said with a smile, Yen Rou, I'll leave Yangla County to you. This general obeys. When Yen Rou heard this, she bowed without any hesitation. Yichen nodded and looked at Zhao Yun, Dian Xiong, Zhao Meng, and Gao Shun. Yunjing, Dian Xiong, Zhao Meng, Gao Shun, heed my orders. Zhao Yun, Dian Xiong, Gao Shun, and Zhao Meng bowed and said, Yes, Lord. Divide the army into 4 groups. Qin Guang, Liaodong, Xuanke, and Yuelang, and bring the Golden Scarf Army. Flatten all the territories of the Golden Scarf Army. Once you're done, gather at Liaoxi City. Yes, Lord. My lord. Zhao Yunjing, Dian Xiong, Gao Shun, and Zhao Meng were stunned for a moment before bowing and replying. They didn't expect Yichen to send the army to Liaodong instead of Liaoxi. After all, the Golden Scarf Army was west of Liaoxi. Although they were doubtful, they would not question Yichen's decision. Yichen was their lord, and he commanded troops like a god. Naturally, he would give orders after careful consideration. What they needed to do was to lead the troops into battle and carry out Yi Chen's orders. Yi Chen looked at the four and then nodded. Zhao Yun, Dian Xiong, Gao Shun, and Zhao Meng bowed again and cupped their fists. Then, they turned their horses around and led the 400,000 soldiers toward Liaodong. Yen Rou glanced at the 400,000 cavalrymen leaving. Envy flashed through her eyes. Obviously, he also wanted to become a general. Although Yen Rou tried to hide it, it was impossible to escape Yi Chen's attention. Yi Chen looked at Yen Rou and raised his eyebrows. Then, he said with a smile, "Yen Rou, don't be envious. Yen Rou, you don't have to be envious. You'll have countless chances to fight in the future. But now, the soldiers in Samsara City are all useful. If you don't want to guard Yangla County, it's okay. You can go to Samsara City by yourself and guard Samsara City." Yen Rou was stunned. When she came to herself, she hurriedly knelt down on one knee and said respectfully, "I'm guilty. Please punish me, my lord." "Why would I punish you? A general who doesn't want to lead troops into battle isn't a good general. Think about it, it shows that you are ambitious. I, your lord, am more than happy for you. Why would I punish you?" Yi Chen laughed and said. When Yen Rou heard this, she was stunned. She did not expect that after Yi Chen saw through her thoughts, not only did he not blame her, he even felt happy. The logic behind this was very clear. Yi Chen really thought highly of him. Furthermore, not long after, he, Yen Rou, would also become a great general of the army, just like Gao Shun and Zhao Meng. Yen Rou tried to calm down and then shouted, "I swear to follow you until death. If I break this oath, I'll be destroyed by heaven and earth." Yi Chen smiled and nodded. Then, he asked, "Yen Rou, have you thought about it? Do you want to guard Yangla County or Samsara City?" "My lord, I'm willing to guard Yangla County. It's the only way to enter Samsara Forest. It's the gateway to Samsara City. It's very important. How can I give it to others?" Yen Rou bowed and answered without hesitation. Yi Chen looked at Yen Rou and nodded with satisfaction. Then, he said, "Very good. Although you can't go to the battlefield, I can guarantee that you'll be a general in Samsara City. Your position in the future depends on your talent. Do you understand?" "I understand. Thank you, my lord. I swear to follow you until death." Yen Rou bowed and said excitedly. Yi Chen smiled and nodded. Just as he was about to speak, a large group of players rushed out of Yangla County's gate. Seeing this, Yi Chen couldn't help but frown. Yen Rou noticed that Yi Chen was frowning. She immediately looked towards Yangla County. Then, she turned around and bowed, "My lord, these people only care about profits and are afraid of death. I promised them rewards and asked them to help defend the city." However, no one responded. They only stayed in the city and shouted. When Yi Chen heard this, he glanced at the human players and curled his lips in disdain. Then, he said, "If the city walls of Yangla County were high enough and there weren't so many golden scarf soldiers outside the city, they would have gone up the city walls to defend the city." Of course, Yi Chen didn't mention one more thing. If the players knew that Yen Rou was the general defending Yangla County, they would have gone up the city walls to help. After all, Yen Rou was a top historical general. To the players, she was a piece of juicy meat. Everyone wanted to eat her. Moreover, a city guarded by a historical general was hard to break through. After the players knew Yen Rou's identity, they would be bolder. "My lord, these players are greedy. They will fight for benefits when the wind is in their favor. They will hide when the wind is against them. I'm afraid that they know that my lord is here and want to seek benefits from my lord." Guo Yi looked at the players and bowed. Yi Chen nodded and said, "Feng Xiao is right. That's what they plan to do." Yi Chen looked at Yen Rou and said, "Yen Rou, return to Yangla County immediately and close the city gate. Don't let them enter the city." "Yes, my lord." Yen Rou bowed and replied without hesitation. She walked to her warhorse and mounted it. Then, she charged towards Yangla County. Guo Yi looked at Yi Chen and bowed curiously. "My lord, since these players came out, they must be here for benefits. I don't think they intend to go back." Why, when Yi Chen heard this, he couldn't help but smile. "Then," he said, "they will want to go back, but it might not necessarily be to Yangla County. My lord, you mean, the west of Liaoxi is very dangerous." Gui Yi's eyes widened as he spoke. Yi Chen raised his eyebrows and nodded. "That's right. The goblin race in Yuzhou is gathering." Chapter 305. Gui Yi's face paled and he hastily bowed and said, "Your Excellency, please quickly summon General Yunjing, General Dian Xiong, General Gao Shun, and General Zhao Meng back to guard against any mishaps." At this moment, Yi Chen only had 10,000 Samsara Legion with him. The number of Yao in Yuzhou was definitely beyond imagination. Gui Yi naturally didn't want Yi Chen to be in danger. Yi Chen glanced at the extremely anxious Gui Yi, smiled slightly, and then opened his mouth to speak. "Feng Xiao, if we want to confront the Yao in a direct confrontation, we need the best of the best. The Samsara Legion is the best of the best. Although Yunzheng's White Horse Cavalry is also an elite, they only have 50,000 veterans. The rest are all rookies. Dian Xiong, Zhao Meng, and Gao Shun are also rookies. Although they have undergone a month of training, there is still a large gap between them and the veterans. If we confront the Yao now, although we can succeed, casualties will be inevitable. It is precisely because of this consideration that I sent Yunzheng and the others to Liaodong to quell the rebellion. The purpose is to train the soldiers and rapidly increase their strength." Gui Yi was slightly taken aback. After recovering, he hastily bowed and said, "Your Excellency, if the Yao invades immediately, won't Your Excellency be in great danger?" Yi Chen looked at Gui Yi's worried face and felt warmth in his heart. He then said, "How could I not know what Feng Xiao is worried about? However, in this world, there is no one who can harm Your Excellency. Not to mention 10 million Yao, even if there are hundreds of millions, so what? They are just small fries. Killing them will only take some time." When Gui Yi heard this, he was stunned. Then, he recalled Yi Chen's overbearing strength. If even a heaven-grade weapon couldn't break Yi Chen's defense, then the Yao really couldn't do anything to Yi Chen. Thinking of this, Gui Yi immediately let out a sigh of relief. He then looked at Yi Chen and bowed. "Your Excellency's bravery is unparalleled in the world, but Jia still earnestly requests Your Excellency not to rashly head west. Wait for Yunzheng, Dian Xiong, Gao Shun, and Zhao Meng to return before heading west to quell the rebellion." When Yi Chen heard this, he laughed heartily and said, "That's right. Feng Xiao, even if you don't tell me, I won't go west casually. It's not difficult to kill demons, but in this way, some of the non-human lords in Yuzhou will be saved, which is not a good thing for Yuzhou in the future." Hearing this, Gui Yi's eyes suddenly lit up, then he bowed and said, "So that's how it is. In this way, all the non-human lords in Yuzhou will be wiped out without the need for Your Majesty to do anything." Gui Yi's words came to an abrupt halt as he furrowed his brows. Yi Chen noticed that Gui Yi's expression wasn't quite right, so he asked with some surprise, "Feng Xiao, is there something wrong?" Hearing Yi Chen's question, Gui Yi hesitated for a moment, then bowed and said, "My lord, there are not only variant lords in Yuzhou province, but also commoners in Yuzhou province." When Yi Chen heard this, he sighed inwardly. "Feng Xiao, you only know part of the story. The Jin rebelled and the demons appeared. The commoners outside the major cities have either died or fled into the cities. There would not be any common people of the great Han dynasty outside the cities. Those who stayed outside the cities were either Jin, Yao clan soldiers, or mutants. In the short term, the commoners in the cities won't be harmed. Otherwise, why would I order Yunzheng and the others to go to Liaodong to quell the rebellion?" Hearing this, Gui Yi was taken aback, then he asked in surprise, "My lord, you mean, the number of Jin and demons in Yuzhou?" Yi Chen nodded affirmatively, then he said, "The number of Jin is too high. Just the number of gold scarves alone is ridiculous, not to mention the demon race. There are also demon lords among the demon race. They control a huge army of birds and beasts. Even if I'm willing to help those mutant lords, there's not enough time. Yi Chen suddenly narrowed his eyes, then he said in a deep voice, "What's more, even if these non-human lords are lucky enough to survive, I will clean them up in the future. Why should I help them? My lord Jia, I'm definitely not worried about those non-human lords. My lord, please understand." Hearing this, Guo Yi was shocked, then he hurriedly bowed. Seeing Guo Yi's anxious look, Yi Chen was taken aback, then he realized that his words just now were somewhat questioning Guo Yi. Thinking of this, Yi Chen shook his head helplessly, then he helped Guo Yi up and sighed. "Feng Xiao, how can I not know your loyalty? Don't do this in the future. Just now, those non-human lords have already asked me for help. Don't think too much." Hearing this, Guo Yi immediately breathed a sigh of relief, then he bowed and said, "I'm relieved that my lord doesn't blame me." When Yi Chen heard this, he couldn't help but glare at Guo Yi, then he shouted, "What's there to blame? Don't do this in the future." "Yes, my lord. My lord." Guo Yi laughed embarrassedly, then he bowed and replied. Yi Chen nodded, then he mounted his horse. Looking at the endless stream of players, he couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. These people probably knew that Yen Rou was the defending general of Yangla County. He wondered if their intestines were green with regret. Thinking of this, Yi Chen shouted, "Let's go! Liaoshi City." "Yes, my lord." The Samsara Legion shouted in unison, then they followed Yi Chen towards Liaoshi City. Rumble! Tens of thousands of oxen galloped, the earth trembled, and dust filled the sky. After Yi Chen left, the players who had rushed over were stunned. Motherf *Ker, is Yi Chen showing off? He actually left without waiting for us. Chapter 306. The general sighed and said, "In recent years, the great Han Empire has been plagued by droughts and locusts. The commoners don't have enough to eat, and Zhang Jiao is sowing discord. It's not strange for so many gold scarf soldiers to appear. General, Liaoshi City only has 100,000 guards. There are at least 5 million gold scarf army below the city. What should we do?" The deputy general was slightly stunned. He glanced at the endless gold scarf army below the city and asked. The general didn't hesitate to shout, "Defend the city to the death. Liaoshi City can't be breached. If the city is breached, then the 8 million commoners in the city will suffer." The deputy general was silent for a moment before speaking, "But general, the amount of food needed by the 8 million commoners isn't a small amount. Even if we can defend the city, the food won't last for a few days." The general glanced at the deputy general and shouted, "We have to hold on even if we can't. Even if we all die in battle, we can't retreat half a step. Liaoshi City can't be breached no matter what. If it is breached, we'll be sinners." The deputy general was about to speak when he was stopped by the general. "Shut up. Don't disturb the morale of the army. Otherwise, you'll be executed without mercy." Right at this moment, an explosive shout sounded out from below the city. "Listen up, Han generals on the city walls. I advise you to obediently open the city and surrender. Otherwise, once my army attacks Liaoshi City, we'll slaughter all of you." The deputy general's eyes suddenly opened wide when he heard this, and then he knelt on one knee and shouted, "General, I'm willing to leave the city and kill that bastard." The general refused without hesitation, "You can't leave the city." Right at this moment, wild laughter sounded out from below the city. "Ha, you've pissed your pants. Let me tell you, I'm a man of my word. I'll give you an hour to consider. If you don't open the city and surrender, then when Liaoshi City is breached, rivers of blood will flow. General, I request to fight. So long as we kill that bastard, the Gold Scarf Army will definitely have no one to command it. At that time, the danger of Liaoshi will be resolved." The deputy general shouted once more. When the general heard this, he frowned. After a moment of silence, he asked, "Are you confident?" This general is confident. The bandit general is only relying on his superior numbers. He will definitely die in a battle of generals. The deputy general shouted without hesitation. If that's the case, go out and meet the general of the Golden Scarf Army. Remember, you can't do anything. Return to the city as soon as possible, or else. The general suddenly became serious. When the deputy general heard this, he nodded without hesitation and bowed. This general understands. This general will not give the Golden Scarf rebels an opportunity to take advantage of. If this general is unable to return in time, please do not hesitate to close the city gates. When the general heard this, he fell silent. A moment later, he patted the deputy general's shoulder and said, "Be careful." "Yes, General." When the deputy general heard this, his body stiffened slightly. Then, he bowed heavily and replied. After he finished speaking, he led his troops down the city walls. Before long, the west gate of Liaoshi city opened with a creak. At this moment, the sound of weapons slashing against bodies could be heard from the west gate. "General! The deputy general has betrayed us!" A fearful and angry roar sounded out. On the city wall, the general's expression changed when he heard this. Then, he roared, "Jiaren, how dare you? Ha ha ha, Han Dang, you didn't expect your deputy general to betray you, right?" An arrogant laugh sounded from the west gate. "You're not Jiaren, who are you?" When the general of the city, Han Dang, heard this, he was shocked and then shouted, "Who am I? Ha ha ha, I'm a player. I'm the Otherworlder that you idiot NPCs call. I told you to surrender but you didn't. You insisted on fighting to the death. You better submit to me. Otherwise, I'll kill you so that bastard Yi Chen won't take you in." The arrogant roar once again sounded from the city walls. When Han Dang heard this, he was enraged. He looked at the guards beside him and shouted, "All of you, go down and kill this bandit." "Yes, General." Han Dang's guards replied in unison and charged down the city walls. At this moment, a roar sounded out, "Charge! Kill all the great Han soldiers! Leave no one alive! The heavens have died and the yellow heavens shall rise. General's orders! Kill all the great Han soldiers! Charge!" The high-pitched voice of the transmission sounded immediately after. In the next second, shouts sounded out. "Kill! Kill! Kill!" Then, he saw countless Golden Scarf soldiers rushing towards the west gate of Liaoshi City, which was wide open. On the city walls, Han Dang's expression changed as he yelled, "Fire!" In the next second, so. The sound of air breaking sounded out as 25,000 arrows flew up and shot towards the Golden Scarf Army. Poochie, poochie, poochie. The sound of arrows piercing flesh rang out. Thousands of the Golden Scarf Army died in an instant, while the rest were all injured. So. The arrows on the city walls shot out wave after wave and Golden Scarf soldiers were shot to death. However, it was useless. There were too many Golden Scarf soldiers. Once they were cleared out, they would be replaced by the people behind them. When Han Dang saw this, his expression changed and he roared, "Kill that bandit and close the city gates." Poochie, poochie, poochie. The sound of weapons piercing flesh sounded out again, and then there was no more movement. Wang Erniu Zhang Er. Speak. When Han Dang heard that there was no more movement, his expression changed and he hurriedly shouted. Following Han Dang's shout, the arrogant laughter sounded out again. "Ha ha ha, Han Dang, I am a king-level general. Your guards are useless. Hurry up and decide. The Golden Scarf Army will be here soon. As long as you choose to follow me, you can live and the people in the city can live. Otherwise, they will all die and you will be cursed. Because of you, 8 million people were killed. Bastard! Bastard! I would rather die than surrender." When Han Dang heard this, his expression became ashen and he roared without hesitation. After yelling, he looked at the soldiers on the city walls and shouted, "Remember, the city walls cannot be destroyed. Remember, the city cannot be breached. Your family members are in the city. If the city is breached, they will be bullied and even killed. Kill the Golden Scarf bandits." "Yes, General." When the soldiers on the city walls heard this, they all shouted without hesitation. When Han Dang saw this, he nodded and rushed down the city walls. In a few jumps, he reached the city gate. However, at this moment, the Golden Scarf army had already reached the west gate of Liaoxi City and rushed into the city without hesitation. When Han Dang saw this, his expression changed and he raised his weapon and charged up. When the player who was pretending to be Han Dang's deputy saw Han Dang charge down, his expression changed and he angrily shouted, "Han Dang, the Golden Scarf army has entered the city. Han Dang, the Golden Scarf army has already entered the city. You are powerless to reverse the situation. You better King think clearly. If you don't follow me, none of the 8 million people in the city will survive." Han Dang fiercely glared at this deputy. Just as he was about to speak, an earth-shaking roar sounded out. Roar! A brutal and merciless killing intent instantly descended. Chapter 307. This is. The player who had used a secret technique to impersonate Deputy General Han Dang heard this sound and his pupils abruptly shrank. Then, he shouted in shock. Whoosh! 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 Countless Golden Scarf soldiers stopped in their tracks and looked up at the sky. There stood a gigantic white tiger. It was cold and tyrannical. Its eyes were filled with killing intent as it stared at the ground. That's a white tiger? How can there be such a big white tiger? It wants to kill us, the Golden Scarf soldiers cried out in fear. The Golden Scarf army's general shivered from the sudden appearance of the white tiger. Then, he shouted in alarm, "What are you doing?" He shouted in shock, "Fuck, can someone tell me what's going on with this white tiger?" "General, this white tiger is not a friend," the deputy general shouted with a pale face. "Yi Chen. That's Yi Chen. Marquis Champion Yi Chen. General, quick. Give the order to attack the city. As long as we enter Liaoxi, the white tiger won't dare to kill as it pleases. There are still civilians there." The player pretending to be Han Dang shouted at the Golden Scarf army's general. "Marquis Champion Yi Chen." The Golden Scarf army's general tightened his grip on his spear when he heard this name. Clearly, he knew who Yi Chen was and how powerful Yi Chen was. Otherwise, he wouldn't have reacted like this. Why would the Marquis Champion summon a white tiger? Fuck, quick, charge for me. Charge into Liaoxi City. The Golden Scarf army's general roared without hesitation. At the city gate, when Han Dang heard the name of Marquis Champion Yi Chen, his eyes widened and he laughed maniacally. "Thieves, your end has come." After Han Dang roared, he charged at the impersonator with his weapon. "Han Dang, don't fucking come over. Otherwise, I'll definitely kill you." When the player saw Han Dang charging over, he was immediately given a fright and loudly shouted. At this moment, the white tiger fell to the ground. In the next second, the white tiger that had fallen to the ground suddenly leaped up and directly crossed the west gate of Liaoxi City before landing heavily. Boom! A loud sound was heard. The ground instantly cracked. Countless air-piercing sounds rang out in an instant, and a large number of Golden Scarf soldiers were sent flying. Taking a look at the boundless army of Golden Scarf soldiers, the white tiger let out another deafening roar. Roar! In the next second, the white tiger leaped up and turned into a stream of light, disappearing in a flash. Bang bang bang, a series of sounds of bodies exploding rang out instantly. The light disappeared and the white tiger appeared. Huge, cold, brutal, and merciless. Behind him, a path filled with blood mist instantly appeared before everyone's eyes. There, the Golden Scarf soldiers disappeared without a trace. Bloody mist surged in that place, sinister and terrifying. On the city wall the city guards widened their eyes in unison. Then, they excitedly raised the weapons in their hands and cheered loudly. Marquis! Victory! Victory! They heard the fake deputy general's words and knew that the white tiger was summoned by Yi Chen. Now, they saw how terrifying the white tiger's attack was. It instantly killed millions. It was ruthless and ruthless. However, they were not afraid. They were only excited. Because Marquis Yi Chen was the governor of Yuzhou, the lord of Yuzhou, and they were the soldiers of Yuzhou. Below the city, countless golden scarf soldiers looked at the empty area in horror. Their companions were there. There were millions of them. However, in the blink of an eye, their companions disappeared. Not even their corpses were left. They turned into a bloody mist and flew with the wind. The strong smell of blood spread with the wind. The smell made them feel nauseous and made them tremble. The shocking visual effect strongly stimulated their nerve. The golden scarves began to move away involuntarily, away from the blood mist and away from the white tiger that had reappeared. Those people are all dead. The golden scarf army general's eyes widened as he stuttered. General, let's run. A scream came from the deputy general's mouth. In the next second, the deputy general galloped away on his horse without thinking. He did not want to die. He wanted to live. So what if the golden scarf army had more people? In front of Marquis Yi Chen, they were all ant. They could not fight back. If they did not run, they would die. At the city gate. Woo! The fake deputy general's weapon was sent flying by Han Dang. Then, Han Dang caught the fake deputy general. Glancing at the vast and empty area outside the city, the corners of Han Dang's mouth curled up. He then looked at the player and fiercely shouted, "Originally, I should have killed you the moment I caught you. However, since the Marquis Champion has come, I will naturally hand you over to the Marquis Champion to be dealt with." Don't. Han Dang, Lord Han. Kill me. Quickly kill me. Don't hand me over to Yi Chen. When the player heard this, he shouted in panic, "But!" Han Dang did not hesitate to give the player a slap, and then shouted in a deep voice, "How dare you? How dare you call the Marquis Champion by his name? I'm F** King yelling. You F** King kill me." The player was stunned at first, then he roared furiously. When Han Dang heard this, he frowned. No matter how he looked at it, this player was asking for death. After looking at the player, Han Dang ignored him and waited for Yi Chen to arrive. When the player saw this, he felt terrible. He said with a sad face, "Damn it, I'm finished. Please don't let Yi Chen kill me. If I'm killed by him, pa." When Han Dang heard the player call Yi Chen's name again, he slapped the player again. "Fuck!" the player shouted in anger. Outside the city, White Tiger looked at the Golden Scarf army that was retreating. He smirked and jumped, turning into a stream of light. Bang bang bang, bang bang bang, the sound of bodies exploding could be heard. After the stream of light flashed 5 more times, the Golden Scarf army outside Liaoxi City was wiped out. After White Tiger disappeared, Yi Chen and the Samsara Legion appeared. Looking at the empty land, Yi Chen raised his eyebrows and rushed towards Liaoxi City. The Samsara Legion followed closely behind. Soon, Yi Chen arrived at the west gate. As soon as he arrived, Han Dang threw the tied-up player to the side and went forward to bow and pay his respects. This general, Han Dang, pays respect to the great general of agile cavalry. When Yi Chen heard this, he was stunned. Han Dang, fuck. Could it be the Han Dang from the Wu Kingdom during the 3 Kingdoms? When he thought of this, Yi Chen opened his eyes and looked at Han Dang. Just as he was about to speak, he heard a terrified shout. "Yi Chen, let me go. I swear that I will leave Yuzhou and never go against you again." Chapter 308. When Yi Chen heard this, he could not help but be stunned. He then looked at the tied-up player. Originally, Yi Chen thought that the person on the ground was a golden turban spy. He did not expect it to be a player pretending to be an ancient person. No matter how well he dressed, he could not hide his identity in front of the natives of this world. This kid was really, when Yi Chen thought of this, he frowned. No. For him to appear here and be tied up, he must have fooled Han Dang. Furthermore, he was only discovered now. When he thought of this, Yi Chen's eyes widened. Han Dang noticed that Yi Chen was observing the player on the ground and hurriedly bowed and explained, "General of Cavalry, this person pretended to be my deputy general and tricked us into opening the city gates. He wanted to let the Golden Turban rebel in. Fortunately, General of Cavalry arrived in time and the traitor's evil plan succeeded." When Yi Chen heard this, he confirmed his guess. He looked at the player on the ground and asked, "You are Tian Buguang?" When the player on the ground heard this, he was stunned and said in shock, "My name is Tian Buguang. My game name is Tian Buguang. Do you know me?" When Yi Chen heard this, he raised his eyebrows. How could I not know the name of the thousand-faced lust demon, Tian Buguang? In Yi Chen's previous life, there was a human player who had countless faces and could change into anyone's appearance. He could even imitate the aura of the person he changed into. More importantly, he knew an evil technique that allowed him to harvest yin to replenish yang. He used this ability to harm countless women. The women he harmed all became old women in their 70s or 80s without exception. In reality, most of them were in their teens or 20s. They were in their prime. If it was only the women in the game world who were harmed, the players would not care. However, it was not only the women in the game world who were harmed. Many female players in real life were harmed by him as well. He was good at both in real life and in the game. As long as he was interested in a woman with a partner, it would not take long for him to get his hands on her. Even if he did not have a partner, he would make a cameo appearance as the flower thief. After that, he would leave in a carefree manner. Among them, no less than 1,000 female players were harmed. The number of women in this world was uncountable. Not long after, he was given the title of Thousand-Faced Lust Demon. Of course, it was given by the players. Countless people wanted to find out the identity of this person, catch him, and then cut him into pieces. Unfortunately, they never succeeded. It was only when this person ascended to the primordial world and wanted to use the same trick again that he was discovered and captured. This was because he was relying on a mask, and what the mask provided was nothing more than an illusion. In the beginner's area of the Three Kingdoms, no one could see through it. However, in the primordial world, once one's essence soul was released, it was easy to see through illusions. It was also at that moment that the players found out about his identity and Tian Buguang's name officially became known to all players. Thinking of this, Yi Chen narrowed his eyes and glanced at Tian Buguang on the ground. He then shouted, "Hand over the mask!" Hearing this, Tian Buguang's eyes suddenly showed a trace of panic, but he didn't dare to delay. He hurriedly put on a blank face and then said, "Yi Chen, what mask? What are you talking about?" Yi Chen sneered when he heard this. He pointed the Godslayer at Tian Buguang with his right hand and shouted, "If you want to die, don't hand it over." In the game, killing someone could drop equipment, but the equipment that dropped was random. It might not drop the mask that Yi Chen mentioned. If Yi Chen could completely kill Tian Buguang with one shot, Tian Buguang wouldn't be able to revive. Yi Chen would be able to obtain all his equipment. However, if the Godslayer's soul-devouring characteristic wasn't triggered, Tian Buguang would run elsewhere to revive. In that case, it would be fine if the mask dropped, but if it didn't, it would be taken away by Tian Buguang. The thousand-faced lust demon would continue to exist. Furthermore, it would be difficult to discover that this was not in line with Yi Chen's original intentions. Otherwise, Yi Chen wouldn't waste time with Tian Buguang. He would have stabbed him with his spear. To Yi Chen, Tian Buguang had to be killed. This was to prevent him from running to Samsara City in the future. Or if he was bold enough, he would run to the historical beauties. This wasn't something that Yi Chen wanted to see. Tian Buguang looked at the thick black Godslayer. His pupils constricted. This was what he was most afraid of. At this moment, the players all knew why Yi Chen would die in real life if he killed someone in the game. It was because of the thick black spear in Yi Chen's hand. 9 out of 10 people who were killed by that gun would also die in the real world. At this moment, Tian Buguang felt the threat of death. It wasn't in the game, but in real life. Tian Buguang's pupils constricted at the thought of dying in real life. You don't want to hand it over? Then go to hell. When Yi Chen saw this, he thrust the god-slaying spear towards Tian Buguang. No. I'll hand it over. I'll hand it over. Tian Buguang saw this and hurriedly shouted. There was a strong tremor in his voice. He was worried, afraid, and even terrified. He didn't want to die in real life after being killed by Yi Chen in the game. Therefore, he gave up on the idea of fooling Yi Chen. This was because Yi Chen didn't believe him at all. He was even prepared to kill him. Damn it, Yi Chen, how did he know that I have a mask? I've only played with a few women, Tian Buguang thought sadly. He wiped his face and a mask that shone with a strange light appeared in his hand. When Han Dang saw this, he immediately went forward and took the mask. Then, he walked in front of Yi Chen and handed the mask to Yi Chen with both hands. Yi Chen smiled and nodded at Han Dang. Then, he took the mask and looked at it. Mask, Earth rank unique, one of the school of Mahist's treasures. It can transform into anyone's appearance and imitate the person's aura. This was the thing. When he thought of this, Yi Chen threw the mask into his interspatial storage. Then, he looked at Tian Buguang on the ground and asked, You killed that deputy general? Yi. Yes. Tian Buguang swallowed his saliva and said. When Yi Chen heard this, his eyes narrowed. When Tian Buguang saw this, he was shocked and hurriedly shouted, Yi Chen, I've handed over the mask. You have to keep your word and let me go. When did I say I'd let you go? You're a golden scarf rebel, and you killed Han Dang's deputy general. You still want to live? Yi Chen sneered and shouted. Yi Chen. When Tian Buguang heard this, his eyes widened and he hurriedly shouted. However, before he could finish, he stopped abruptly. He saw Godslayer's spear pierce through his heart. Then, with a flash of black light, Tian Buguang lost all signs of life. Fuck, you know that Yuzhou is my territory, yet you still rely on the mask to come and cause trouble. Do you think that you'll be fine just because you said you won't come again? When he thought of this, Yi Chen curled his lips in disdain and withdrew the Godslayer. Han Dang viciously looked at Tian Buguang's corpse on the ground. Then, he looked at Yi Chen and knelt on one knee with a pung sound. Then, he loudly bowed, Han Dang is willing to follow the Lord. I beg the Lord to take me in. Chapter 309. Yi Chen was stunned when he heard this. Yi Chen did not expect that Han Dang would take the initiative to pledge allegiance to him. Yi Chen was still thinking about how to recruit Han Dang. Who would have thought that Han Dang would take the initiative to pledge allegiance to him? At this moment, the system notification rang out. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chen. A first-rate historical general, Han Dang, wishes to pledge allegiance to you. Will you accept? Yi Chen's eyes widened when he heard the system notification. Holy shit! Reincarnation City was in need of a navy commander. Now that there was one, how could he not accept it? Thinking of this, Yi Chen made his choice without hesitation. Accept. Ding. Congratulations to player Yi Chen. You have obtained the loyalty of a first-rate historical general, Han Dang. Hearing this, Yi Chen hurriedly got off his horse and helped Han Dang up. Then, he laughed loudly. To be able to obtain Han Dang's help, it is my fortune, the fortune of reincarnation. Han Dang was overjoyed when he heard this. He quickly bowed and said loudly, Han Dang greets my lord. Han Dang was the same as Yenro. He had heard of Yi Chen's fame long ago, and wanted to follow him. However, after Yi Chen was promoted to Yozhou's governor and general of Agile Cavalry, the Golden Turban Rebellion broke out before he could meet the officials of Yuzhou. As a result, Han Dang had not been able to meet Yi Chen. Now, Han Dang saw Yi Chen. Not only did he see him, but he also saw how powerful, domineering, and invincible Yi Chen was. On the battlefield, millions of golden-turbaned soldiers were wiped out by Yi Chen in a few breaths' time. How tyrannical was that? How tyrannical was that? It was also at that moment that Han Dang's desire to follow Yi Chen became unshakable. At this moment, Yi Chen accepted him without the slightest hesitation. His tone was filled with respect. How could Han Dang not be excited? At this moment, the world notification rang out. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chen. You are the fourth person to obtain the loyalty of a first-rate historical general, Han Dang. Because of his special status, player Yi Chen is rewarded with 10 million gold. The world notification rang out 3 times in a row, once again causing an uproar in the world channel. F***CK. Was there a mistake? He had just taken in Yen Ro, and now, he had taken in Han Dang. Do you still want to have fun? Damn, Han Dang is the Navy commander. Yi Chen's Samsara city doesn't have a navy. Motherf***, won't Yi Chen be invincible in naval battles in the future? Motherf***, I refuse to accept this. It wasn't easy for me to get a 10,000-man navy, and I'm just short of a navy general. Yi Chen sure is good. He hasn't even built a navy yet, but he's already got a fucking navy general. F***CK. You can't cheat like this. Why doesn't the system restrict Yi Chen and deal with Yi Chen? Don't tell me that Yi Chen is a relative of the system. Boss Yi Chen is the most awesome. You have no choice but to accept it even if you don't want to. Boss Yi Chen, please accept me as your underling. Sincerely. I swear. I'll never betray Boss Yi Chen. Yeah, Boss Yi Chen, please accept us. Many of us are Boss Yi Chen's fans. We're all hardcore fans. We're all players, not lords. We just want to follow Boss Yi Chen and get some benefit. We'll never plot against Boss Yi Chen. Yeah, Boss Yi Chen, please accept us. We're all players, not lords who want to compete with Boss Yi Chen for hegemony. Motherf***, what's so good about being Yi Chen's underling? Can't you see that Yi Chen doesn't accept anyone as his underling? Yeah, what's so good about being Yi Chen's underling? Let me tell you, don't even think about it. Come to me early and I'll give you the position of a lackey. If you're late, there won't even be a lackey position left. Ha, I'm a lord. I've built a territory in the real world, and it has the function of a safe city. I'm not afraid to tell you that the safe city won't be safe for long. I'm sure you'll notice it. If you want to live, hurry up and come to me to sign up as my underling. Otherwise, you'll end up in a miserable state. Ha, human dregs, what's the use of building a territory? Once the safety property expires, you'll all become food for us shifters. Roar, 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 huff, huff, human women are the most delicious. Old Pig loves to eat them. Human women are not only good for eating, but also for playing. Old Pig, don't waste them. Gagaga, the world channel was very lively. Discussions between humans and shifters flooded the screen. Yi Chen glanced at it and frowned. Humans were weak, while the shifters were tyrannical. Whether it was in his previous life or this life, Yi Chen had not changed. Of course, Yi Chen had changed Yi Chen himself. Yi Chen was the number one human who could crush the shifters. If Yi Chen was included, the human race was not weak. But excluding Yi Chen, the human race was still the same as in his previous life. They were oppressed by the shifters, and this would continue for a long time. To fight against the shifters, humans needed to unite themselves. Unfortunately, thinking of this, Yi Chen's gaze turned cold. This was an unsolvable problem. After the meteor fell, human desires and hopes were infinitely magnified. 99% of humans believed that every man for himself would be destroyed by heaven and earth. Uniting to fight against the shifters would occasionally happen, but it would collapse on its own. No one was willing to sacrifice for the human race. They would only work hard to survive, to become stronger, and to become superior. Lowering their heads and lingering at death's door was the true portrayal of many people. Yi Chen naturally saw the sincere words of the players who wanted to be his follower on the World Channel. But Yi Chen was not tempted at all. It was impossible for him to take in followers, even if there were some who really wanted to be his follower. Moreover, even if he wanted to take in followers, now was not the time. Yi Chen did not have the ability to distinguish the loyalty of humans in the current world, nor did he have anything to restrict human players. The most important thing was that although Yi Chen was strong, he was only in the current world, in the novice area of the Three Kingdoms. At the moment, Yi Chen was not the kind of peerless powerhouse who could destroy stars with a wave of his hand. If Yi Chen was soft-hearted, then Yi Chen was likely to encounter unexpected situations. He might be poisoned, secretly plotted against, and so on. Because Yi Chen had Samsara City in the real world, and in the game world, he was the governor of Yuzhou, the general of agile cavalry, and the marquee champion. No one did not want to replace Yi Chen's position, and no one did not want to get everything from Yi Chen. If there was a chance, 99% of people would do it without hesitation. In this morally devoid world, kindness would only lead to one result: death. Yi Chen understood this and was clear about this. How could he be a stepping stone for others because of kindness? Thinking of this, Yi Chen let out a long breath, then looked at Han Dang and said, "Take people to clean up the battlefield. Hand in those above diamond level, and keep the rest for yourself. Remember, no mutants are allowed to enter the city." Chapter 310. Yes, my lord. Han Dang hurriedly bowed and replied. Yi Chen nodded and led the Samsara Legion back to the city lord's mansion. After Yi Chen left, Han Dang led the soldiers to clean up the battlefield and pick up the items dropped by the Golden Scarf Army. After cleaning up the battlefield, the city gates of Liaoxi City were closed. At this time, the players from Yangli County had just arrived. When they saw the blood-red ground outside Liaoxi City, their eyes widened. Damn! Yi Chen summoned the White Tiger again. How many people did he kill? On the Great Han Dynasty War Achievement ranking, Yi Chen's war achievement shot up by 20 million. He must have killed a lot of Golden Scarf Army. Damn, why is the battlefield so clean? That's right. F***ck, I was still thinking of picking up some equipment. Great, now I don't even have a strand of hair. We came too late. If we came earlier, we could have picked it up. Speaking of which, did Yi Chen leave or go to Liaoxi City? He probably hasn't left yet. Yi Chen only brought his personal guards here. Zhao Yunjing, Dian Xiong, and Gao Shun went to Liaodong. Yi Chen should be waiting for them here. He'll head west after they arrive. Damn, if that's the case, then let's go to Liaoxi City too. We can get a war horse there so we can follow them. Yeah, let's go to Liaoxi City. Yi Chen's soldiers are all riding rhinos. Without war horses, it'll be hard to follow them. After the players finished talking, they headed to Liaoxi City. However, no matter how they shouted, the city gates would not open. At this time, the players flew into a rage and cursed non-stop. However, no matter how much they cursed, Han Dang would not open the city gates. Although Han Dang did not understand Yi Chen's order, he would carry it out. If Han Dang knew that the players were following Yi Chen, he would immediately understand the meaning of Yi Chen's order. Yi Chen was forcing the Yuzhou players to work for him. They could take advantage of the situation, but if they did not, then they would be destroyed by the Golden Scarf Army and the Shifter Army. Yi Chen had no interest in leading the players to participate in the Golden Scarf Rebellion and the Shifter Rebellion. This was because no one would sincerely listen to Yi Chen's orders, especially those that involved risking their lives. Of course, if Yi Chen promised them great rewards, the players would do so. But Yi Chen had the strength and power, he had the power, so why would he promise such great rewards to others? It was better to leave it to develop Reincarnation City. That was why Yi Chen ordered the city gates to be closed, not giving the players a way out and forcing them to fight against the Shifter clan's Golden Scarf. It was fine if they did not fight, but they could only watch from the back. They would not be able to obtain any beneficence or military merits. If they wanted to gain benefits, they could either kill Jin and the Demon Clan or leave Yuzhou. Simply picking up items on the battlefield was a bad idea for the players. Whether it was the Golden Scarf Army or the Shifter Army, they would receive a large amount of experience, merit, and war achievement. This was much better than picking up equipment. Of course, equipment and cultivation methods were also important. But with Yi Chen around, they would have to see if Yi Chen would agree to it. Liaoxi City, City Lord's Mansion. As soon as Yi Chen arrived, all the officials in Liaoxi City hurried to greet him. After Yi Chen saw them one by one, he could not help feeling disappointed. There were no famous people here, but some of them had some ability. Otherwise, they would not be able to manage Liaoxi City. Yi Chen ordered them to return to their duties and manage Liaoxi City. After all the officials left, Han Dang came to the main hall. As soon as he entered, Han Dang bowed. "Greetings, my lord." Yi Chen nodded with a smile and asked, "Han Dang, has the battlefield been cleaned?" "My lord, the battlefield has been cleaned up. However, there are only 5 pieces of equipment that are diamond level and above. There are also only 32 emperor-level cultivation technique." Han Dang nodded and bowed. When Yi Chen heard this, he couldn't help but smile. He then said, "If the Golden Scarf Bandit is well equipped, then Big Han might be in danger." Han Dang was slightly surprised and bowed. "My lord is right. Most of the Golden Scarf rebels came from poor backgrounds and were tempted by Zhang Jiao to join the rebellion. They do not have good equipment." Yi Chen chuckled and nodded. Then, he looked at Han Dang and asked, "Han Dang, how long can the food in Liaoxi City last? I mean, how long can it last if we add in the food of the rich merchants and the nobles?" Before, when Yi Chen met all the officials in Liaoxi, he did not ask about this, because he would not be able to get the truth out of them. They were all big families in Liaoxi City, and would not tell him how much food they had. In a year of disaster, the first thing they would think about was their own interests, and not the lives of the common people. Yi Chen was well aware of this. Otherwise, Yi Chen would have asked long ago. Hearing this, Han Dang's eyes widened and he hurriedly bowed. "My lord, if those nobles can take out the food, the 8 million people in Liaoxi City can last for at least 2 years. When Yi Chen heard this, his eyebrows couldn't help but raise. Then, he asked, "Do you know the approximate amount of food that those aristocrats hoarded?" Reporting to my lord, this general does not know the exact number. However, this general can roughly estimate the number. When Han Dang heard this, he did not hesitate to bow and say. When Yi Chen heard this, his eyes narrowed. Then, he looked at Guo Yi and shouted, "Feng Shao, issue a notice saying that I will buy food at twice the usual price to solve the problem of food and clothing for the common people. The nobles and nobles are not allowed to keep food for themselves. They can only keep 2 years' worth of food for their families." Guo Yi was slightly taken aback. He then bowed and said, "My lord, I'm afraid that this notice won't have much of an effect. Those grain merchants will probably only take out a little food to deal with my lord." Hearing this, Yi Chen narrowed his eyes and said, "They'd better obey my orders. Otherwise, there will be no place for them in Yuzhou." "My lord, are you preparing to kill?" Guo Yi was startled when he heard this. He quickly bowed and asked. Yi Chen glanced at the anxious Guo Yi and asked, "Feng Shao, are you worried about the instability of Yuzhou?" "That's true, your majesty. Although these tyrants are not powerful, their combined strength should not be underestimated. As long as your majesty deals with those tyrants in Liaoxi province, all the tyrants in the other cities in Yuzhou province would probably unite against your majesty." Guo Yi nodded with a solemn look as he said with a bow, "Feng Shao, do you know where the foundation of this world is?" Yi Chen laughed and asked. Guo Yi was stunned for a moment before saying, "The foundation of this world is naturally the common people." Yi Chen nodded and said overbearingly, "Feng Shao is right. Feng Shao is right, the foundation of the world is the common people, not those despots. The nobles in Yuzhou can continue to stay because they have no intention of opposing me. As for the nobles, how can I let them stay to create chaos?" Chapter 3:11. Hearing this, Guo Yi was stunned for a moment before he realized what was going on. At this moment, Yi Chen was the lord of Yuzhou, the general of the great Han Empire's swift cavalry, and the marquis champion. His status was high. Moreover, Samsara City had a powerful army and countless wealth. There was no need to worry about the influence of those tyrants. He could completely deal with those tyrants. To put it simply, those who obeyed Yi Chen would prosper, and those who disobeyed Yi Chen would perish. Thinking of this, Guo Yi hurriedly bowed and said, "My lord, I have been too afraid of the power of those tyrants. Please forgive me." When Yi Chen heard this, he couldn't help but smile and say, "Feng Shao, remember one thing in the future. No matter how powerful the tyrants are, those who obey will live. Those who disobey will be killed without mercy. In this world, I will not tolerate any tyrants who disobey my orders. If there is one, kill one. If there are 10,000, kill 10,000. Yes, my lord, my lord." Guo Yi's eyes widened when he heard this. Then, he bowed heavily and replied, "My lord, leave this matter to me. I promise that I will not allow any tyrant to cheat." Han Dang exhaled deeply and then bowed loudly. At that moment, Han Dang was extremely excited. In fact, it could even be said that he was excited. This was because Yi Chen was not thinking about the interests of the tyrants, but the interests of the common people. Moreover, he was ready to take control of Liaoxi and even the entire Yuzhou. This was what a wise and mighty emperor should do. He should not be afraid of the tyrant's power and compromise again and again without caring about the lives of the common people. If that happened, how could Yuzhou be stable, peaceful, or prosperous? Hearing this, Yi Chen glanced at Han Dang and then shouted, "Good. I will leave this matter to you. After Feng Shao puts up the notice, immediately take action. Record down those who obey and keep them for future use. Those who do not obey, search for the Golden Scarf rebels. If you find any grain, immediately deal with them as rebels and take the grain away. Those who resist, kill without mercy." Yi Chen bought food at twice the market price and left 2 years' worth of rations for the families of the nobles. They would not starve to death at all. If they didn't follow Yi Chen's orders, then they would be going against Yi Chen. How could Yi Chen be lenient? Yes. When Han Dang heard this, he bowed without hesitation. "My lord, I will go and write the announcement." Guo Yi looked at Yi Chen and bowed. "Go ahead." Yi Chen nodded and said. Guo Yi bowed again, then brought Han Dang out of the city lord's mansion hall. Not long after, a notice about purchasing grain was posted in Liaoxi City, causing a sensation instantly. XX residence. Damn it! What's the meaning of this? Is he trying to cut off our routes? That's right, double the market price. Doesn't he know that the price of food has increased by 5 times? There's still a demand but no supply? He's trying to compete with us. Pass down the order to close the doors and not allow anyone to enter. XX residence. Thief. Thief. I worked so hard to save up so little food, and half of it was purchased at a high price. Yuzhou wants to snatch my food with just a notice? How dare he? We must not sell it. If we sell it, we will suffer a loss. It was not easy for us to catch up with the disaster year and hoard a large amount of food. The price of food will become more and more expensive. How can we sell it so cheaply? Yes, we can't sell it. Not only can we not sell it, we have to send people to Luoyang to sue Yi Chen. He is corrupt and is not fit to be the Yuzhou governor. XX residence. This general of agile cavalry has come with ill intentions. There is a murderous intent in this order. Although it is not explicitly stated, if I am not mistaken, if the Wang family does not do as the notice says, it will inevitably be a disaster. Does the Marquis of Champion really dare to kill us? If he doesn't dare, he wouldn't have issued such an announcement as soon as he arrived in Liaoxi. Then what should we do? Do we really follow the announcement and only keep the food for the family for 2 years and sell the rest to him? Sell it, we must sell it. Not only that, we must sell it at the original price. Remember, we can't be careless about this matter. Otherwise, the Wang family will be removed from Yuzhou. One after another, the doors of the nobles' residences were tightly shut. They did not pay any attention to the announcement posted by Yi Chen. However, at this moment there were also some rich and powerful people that were transporting grain to the city lord's mansion. Furthermore, they were selling grain to Yi Chen at the lowest price. After receiving this news, Yi Chen directly ordered people to bring these nobles to the city lord's residence to drink and eat. While Yi Chen was receiving these nobles' goodwill, Han Dang raised his butcher's knife in Liaoxi City. One noble's blood flowed like a river. At first, Han Dang did not act ruthlessly, but who would have thought that some of the tyrants would actually attack Han Dang's soldiers? One of the soldiers was even killed by an arrow from one of the tyrant's fighters. This immediately enraged Han Dang, and he started a massacre. When they were defending the city, they all hid at home and refused to contribute. Now that the invading Golden Scarf army was destroyed, they all bared their fangs and brandished their claws and even dared to kill people. How could Han Dang not be angry? These nobles who dared to kill people all had children who were officials in Liaoxi. Otherwise, they would not be so daring. Han Dang had some misgivings before. Now that he is following Yi Chen, he no longer has such misgivings. Moreover, Yi Chen gave him this order. How could he not dare to act? Later, when Yi Chen received a report from a soldier and learned that one of his soldiers was killed, he was furious and directly sent the Samsara Legion over. All of a sudden, many nobles were frightened. None of them dared to resist Yi Chen. Not only did they obediently hand over the food, they also did not take a single cent. Unfortunately, they were already on Guiyi's blacklist. It didn't take long for the fighters of these families to be taken away. The disciples of these families who held positions in Liaoxi were also removed and replaced with the disciples of the families who had been friendly with Yi Chen from the beginning. Of course, these people were all interviewed by Yi Chen. If they did not have the ability, Yi Chen would not use them. In the dark night, a cool breeze blew. However, it was mixed with the smell of blood. Yi Chen's thunderous methods completely changed the Liaoxi officialdom. It also attracted the applause of the commoners. This was because after Yi Chen received the food, he directly opened the granary and released it. More than 80% of the 8 million people in the city did not have any food stored at home and did not have much money on them. If they wanted to eat their fill, there was no other way except for the government. How could the commoners not like Yi Chen's decision? How could they not be happy? This was because all of this happened so that they could eat their fill and not starve to death. The commoners were grateful, and moved. How could they say that Yi Chen was cruel? Not to mention, Yi Chen's arrival solved the crisis of Liaoxi City. It could be said that without Yi Chen, once Liaoxi City was broken, the commoners, even if they were nobles, would definitely suffer unimaginable persecution. Apart from those nobles who were dealt with, no one in Liaoxi City did not appreciate Yi Chen's kindness. City Lord Mansion, Main Hall. After listening to Guiyi's report on the situation in the city, Yi Chen couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. He then said, not bad, the hearts of the people are useful." As soon as Yi Chen finished speaking, a Samsara Legion soldier hurriedly ran in. He got down on one knee and loudly said, "My lord, General Zhao Yun, General Dian Xiong, General Gao Shun, and General Zhao Meng have led their troops to Liaoxi City." Chapter 312. When Yi Chen heard this, he couldn't help but stare blankly. In one day, all the golden turbans in Liaodong were wiped out. Congratulations, my lord. General Yunjing, General Dian Xiong, General Gao Shun, and General Zhao Meng must have triumphantly marched forward and wiped out the golden turbans in Liaodong. Guo Yi bowed and said with a smile. When Han Dang heard this, he couldn't help but stare in shock. When Yi Chen led his troops out, Han Dang had already heard about this from Guo Yi. And now, in just a short time, the golden turbans in Liaodong were wiped out. This speed wasn't something that could be done with just good equipment. Ha ha ha, Feng Xiao is right. Let's go to the east gate. Yi Chen laughed and said, Yes, my lord. My lord. Guo Yi and Han Dang bowed in unison as they followed Yi Chen towards the east gate. Not long after, Yi Chen brought Han Dang and Guo Yi to the east gate. With a creak, the east gate opened. Zhao Yun, Dian Xiong, Gao Shun, and Zhao Meng all kneeled on one knee and loudly said, Greetings, my lord. Whoosh. At this moment, the army of 40,000 also kneeled on one knee and loudly said, Greetings, my lord. Their voices were uniform and shook the sky. Yi Chen took a glance at the blood-stained battle robes of the four, and let out a long sigh. Then, he quickly walked over to Zhao Yunjing, Zhao Meng, Dian Xiong, and Gao Shun. He helped the four of them up one by one and said in a heavy voice, Thank you for your hard work. When Yi Chen finished speaking, Zhao Yun, Dian Xiong, Gao Shun, and Zhao Meng all felt warmth in their hearts. They then bowed and said, For my lord, even if we die, we will have no regrets. When Yi Chen heard this, he nodded and said, Enter the city? Yes, my lord. Zhao Yun, Zhao Meng, Dian Xiong, and Gao Shun bowed in unison. Then, they led the 400,000-strong army and followed Yi Chen into Liaoxi city. When Yi Chen entered the city, the players who were left outside the city were unhappy. They also wanted to enter the city. Resting outside was not as comfortable as resting in the city. Moreover, they did not have to worry about anything. Unfortunately, no one dared to step forward. This was because they had quarreled during the day. Unfortunately, Liaoxi city's gates were not open. Now that Yi Chen's 400,000 Samsara city soldiers were here, the players did not dare to speak carelessly. If they dared to open their mouths, wouldn't they be courting death? No one dared to challenge Yi Chen's patience at this moment. Looking at the Samsara city army entering Liaoxi city, a player let out a long sigh and said, Comparisons are odious. Did you see that? Yi Chen's soldiers are all equipped with diamond equipment. Damn, the best I have is only silver equipment. Don't compare yourself to Yi Chen. He's a pervert. Even his soldiers have such good equipment. Damn, I don't think anyone can stop Yi Chen. Stop Yi Chen? Don't be ridiculous. Is Yi Chen someone that can be easily controlled? Let's not talk about the people he kills in the game. He might die in real life. Just the soldiers under his command can easily defeat anyone who refuses to obey him. Unless everyone unites, Yi Chen might not be able to do it. Everyone unites? Do you think that will happen? It might happen when Yi Chen is conquering the world. But when Yi Chen is conquering the world, how strong do you think his forces will be? How strong Yi Chen is has nothing to do with me. What I'm thinking is why Yi Chen didn't ask us to enter the city. Can't you see it now? Yi Chen is forcing us to enter the battlefield. Damn. I was wondering why Yi Chen didn't ask us to enter the city. We aren't from the Golden Scarf faction. Now I see. It won't be easy to fish in troubled waters. It's still possible to fish in troubled waters, but if you want to reap benefits, you have to work hard and risk your life. Yi Chen definitely means this. Otherwise, he would have banished us or even killed us. Let alone Yi Chen, that pervert would dare to do anything. Yi Chen is already very kind. Compared to some Lord players, Yi Chen is already a kind person. You don't know, but I have a classmate who hangs out with a lord. Damn, that lord doesn't even treat my classmate as a human. Whenever he gets something good, the lord will snatch it away. My classmate doesn't even dare to resist because if he does, not only will he be in danger in real life, but he will also be killed until he reaches level 0 in the game. City Lord's Mansion, main hall. After Yi Chen sat in the main seat, he looked at Zhao Yun and asked, Yunjing, what's the situation in Liaodong? When Zhao Yun heard Yi Chen's question, he hastily bowed and said, Lord, the Golden Scarf Lord is right. There are no less than 20 million Golden Scarf soldiers in Liaodong. Countless villages were destroyed by the Golden Scarf soldiers. There were also a few small counties that were conquered by the Golden Scarf soldiers. However, the Golden Scarf soldiers in Liaodong have all been killed. The captured counties have also been recovered. When Yi Chen heard this, he couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. Zhao Yun, Dian Xiong, Zhao Meng, and Gao Shun were indeed historical generals. They were quick at conquering cities. Thinking up to this point, Yi Chen chuckled and nodded. He then asked, How are the casualties? Lord, it's all thanks to the equipment that Lord bestowed upon us that the White Horse Cavalry didn't suffer a single casualty. When Zhao Yun heard this, he smiled faintly and bowed. Yi Chen laughed and looked at Dian Xiong. When Dian Xiong saw Yi Chen looking over, he hastily bowed and said, Lord, the soldiers under my command also didn't suffer a single casualty. Gao Shun and Zhao Meng didn't wait for Yi Chen to look over. They hastily bowed and said, Lord, the soldiers under my command also didn't suffer a single casualty. When Yi Chen heard this, he couldn't help but smile. He then nodded in satisfaction and said, Good, well done. When Yi Chen finished speaking, he looked at the maid at the door and ordered, Go, bring the food and wine. When the maid at the door heard this, she hastily bowed and replied, Yes, Lord Province Overseer. After saying this, she hastily ran off to prepare the food and wine. At this moment, Zhao Yun looked at Yi Chen. He hesitated for a moment before bowing and saying, Lord, Liaodong, Xuanke, and Yuelang are running out of grain. Moreover, the price of grain in the cities has risen 8 times the normal price. If this drags on, I'm afraid. When Yi Chen heard this, he immediately frowned. This kind of situation again. When he thought of this, Yi Chen looked at Han Dang and shouted, Han Dang, tomorrow you will lead the troops to Liaodong, Xuanke, Yuelang, and Yuelang. Do what Liaoshi did. No matter who it is, if anyone resists, even if it's a conflict, don't be soft-hearted. Kill without mercy. When Han Dang heard this, his eyes widened. He stepped out of the ranks and knelt on one knee. He loudly said, This general obeys. Ding. Han Dang's loyalty plus 10, leveled up to loyal. When Yi Chen heard the system's notification, he couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. Not bad, another loyal subordinate. Chapter 313. With this thought, Yi Chen turned to Han Dang and said, Han Dang, Liaodong, Xuanke, and Yuelang are the 4 commanderies of Liaodong. Unlike Liaoshi, you must not be too careful. If there is any danger, you can abandon the plan and return first. You can deal with them later. When Han Dang heard this, he couldn't help but be taken aback, and then his heart warmed. In Liaoshi, Han Dang was the general guarding the city and had military authority, but in Liaodong, Xuanke, Yuelang, and Liaodong, Han Dang was an outsider. He wasn't sure if the officials of the 4 commanderies would listen to Yi Chen, but with the alliance of the local tyrants, there was definitely danger. Han Dang originally thought that Yi Chen didn't know about this, but not only did Yi Chen know about this, he even told him to retreat first and deal with the tyrants later. How could Han Dang not see that he was thinking for Han Dang's sake? It was precisely because he could see that Han Dang was moved. Thinking of this, Han Dang took a deep breath. After exhaling a long breath, he bowed deeply and said, Yes, my lord. Yi Chen chuckled and nodded. Just as he was about to speak, a drawn-out voice came from outside the door. Reporting, Yi Chen followed the voice and saw a soldier hastily running in. As soon as he entered, he got down on one knee and loudly bowed. Reporting to Lord Prefecture Overseer, there is a group of soldiers outside the city. They claim to be under Liu Yan's orders and wish to enter the city to recruit volunteers. When Yi Chen heard this, he raised his eyebrows. Liu Yan had put out a notice and was recruiting volunteers. The small historical plot of the Oath of the Peach Garden was about to begin. Big-eared thief royal Uncle Liu, Zhang San, Guan Er. At this time, there were monsters everywhere. Liu Yan's subordinates couldn't go to Zhua County alone. In other words, if I don't go to Zhua County, the historical plot of the Oath of the Peach Garden can forget about. Starting with this thought, Yi Chen's lips curled up. He looked at the soldier and said, "Let them enter the city." "Yes, Lord Prefecture Overseer." The soldier hastily bowed and then ran off to pass on Yi Chen's order. Guoyi frowned, then looked at Yi Chen and bowed. "Your Majesty, Liu Yan is a relative of the Emperor. It makes sense for him to recruit volunteers. However, the current ruler of Yuzhou is Your Majesty. Liu Yan's actions might affect Your Majesty's prestige." When Yi Chen heard this, he couldn't help but smile. Then, he looked at Guoyi and said, "Feng Xiao is right. If I had turned a blind eye to it, I might have really been tricked by Liu Yan." When Yi Chen said this, he curled his lips in disdain and then shouted, "What are you talking about? Feng Xiao, use my name to recruit soldiers from Yuzhou. The requirement is to follow the standard of Samsara City, Class C and above." As Yi Chen was the master of Yuzhou province, it was reasonable for him to recruit soldiers from Yuzhou. On the other hand, Liu Yan had recruited volunteer soldiers. At first glance, there was no difference between the two. They were both soldiers. But in reality, the difference between the two was as great as the sky. When Liu Yan recruited volunteer soldiers, he would not give them weapons, armor, or war horses. The volunteer soldiers would carry all of them with them. On the other hand, Yi Chen recruited regular soldiers. He would give them weapons, armor, provisions, and all kinds of benefits. As long as Yi Chen's notice was sent out, anyone in Yuzhou who wanted to be recruited, as long as they were not idiots, would choose Yi Chen over Liu Yan. When Guoyi heard this, his eyes lit up. He bowed and said, "Yes, Your Majesty." Yi Chen nodded with a smile. Then, he looked at Zhao Yun, Dian Xiong, Gao Shun, and Zhao Meng and said, "Rest well tonight. Tomorrow morning, we will set out for Ping City in the north." "Yes, Your Majesty." When Zhao Yun, Dian Xiong, Gao Shun, and Zhao Meng heard this, they all bowed and replied. Not long after, the maids brought in food and wine. After a round of eating and drinking, everyone went to rest. The next day, when the sun rose, Yi Chen led Zhao Yun, Dian Xiong, Gao Shun, Zhao Meng, Guoyi, and the 410,000 soldiers of Samsara City to Ping City in the north. When the players outside Liaoshi City saw this, they all hurriedly followed. Just as Yi Chen thought, these players did not leave Yuzhou. They all planned to follow behind to kill the Shifter race and Golden Scarf race to reap the benefit. Ping City in the north. The Golden Scarf army that stretched as far as the eye could see was attacking the four walls of Ping City in the north. On the siege ladder, the Golden Scarf soldiers shouted and climbed up fearlessly. They wanted to reach the top of the walls. On the walls, the great Han soldiers drew their bows, threw rocks, and rolled logs. They tried their best to stop the Golden Scarf soldiers. Deafening battle cries, miserable howls, and angry shouts reverberated throughout the battlefield. Blood could be seen everywhere on the walls of Ping City in the north. Some even flowed from the walls to the ground. Under the walls, there were many layers of twisted corpses. The siege had been going on for a long time. The Golden Scarf army had suffered heavy casualties. However, none of this could stop the madness of the Golden Scarf soldiers. One by one, they charged at the city walls in a frenzy, constantly attacking the city walls. Then, they were smashed down by falling rocks and shot down by arrows. Under normal circumstances, these Golden Scarf soldiers would have been scared by the huge casualties. They would have been scared and even retreated. Because they were not regular soldiers, they had not received training, and they had not been on the battlefield before. However, they were not scared. They did not shrink back or retreat. If Yi Chen was here, he would immediately see that these golden scarf soldiers had drunk Zhang Jiao's talisman water. They had long lost their fear. Only their fanaticism for Zhang Jiao was left. They were not afraid of death. Kill them. The general looked at the golden scarf soldiers who kept attacking the walls and roared with a pale face. He did not expect the golden scarf soldiers to be so crazy. None of them were afraid of death. As long as they did not hit the vital parts of the golden scarf soldiers, they would still climb up the walls. At this moment, a drawn-out report came. Report, General, there's an emergency of arrows on the west wall. Report, General, there's an emergency of arrows on the south wall. Danger reports came one after another. After hearing them, the general's expression changed again and again. There were insufficient defensive equipment and arrows. No matter how capable he was, there was nothing he could do. At this moment, a panicked voice was heard. Report, General, there's a large group of golden scarf soldiers on the west wall. When the general heard this, his expression changed. Then, he roared angrily, Quick! Go to the west wall to reinforce them. We can't lose the wall. If the wall was captured by the golden scarf soldiers, Ping City would be in danger. At that time, everyone in the city would be robbed by the golden scarf army. After the general shouted, he rushed to the west wall with his guards. However, he had only run a few steps when another drawn-out report came. Report, General, there's a large group of golden scarf soldiers on the south wall. Damn it! If there were enough arrows and defensive equipment, how could these damn golden scarf soldiers get on the wall? When the general heard this, his face turned pale and he roared to the sky. At this moment, a roar that shook the heavens and earth was suddenly heard. Roar. At this moment, a brutal and ruthless killing intent wantonly spread to the ground. Chapter 3:14. The general was stunned and turned to look at the eastern sky. Over there, an incomparably huge white tiger stood in the air, its two awe-inspiring tiger eyes staring coldly at the ground. In the next second, the white tiger fell to the ground and disappeared from the general's sight. At this moment, a long voice was heard. General, the prefecture overseer has arrived at the east of the city with 410,000 soldiers. When the general heard this, his eyes suddenly widened. He finally realized what the white tiger was. It was summoned by Yi Chen, the prefecture overseer of Yuzhou. Thinking of this, the general burst into laughter. Ha ha ha, God bless Ping City. Now that the prefecture overseer is here, how can I be so arrogant? The prefecture overseer is here. We are safe. There's hope for Ping City. Thank the heavens. Thank you, Lord Prefecture Overseer. My family is finally safe and sound. The soldiers on the city wall expressed their excitement one after another. Seeing this, the general heaved a sigh of relief and shouted, Hurry up! Kill all the golden scarf soldiers on the city wall. We can't let them take the city wall. Otherwise, we will be sinners of Ping City and cause more trouble for the prefecture overseer. Yes, General. The soldiers on the city wall shouted in unison and rushed to the two sides of the city wall that had been attacked by the golden scarf soldiers. In the east of Ping City, in the north of the city. After the white tiger fell to the ground, it immediately surrounded Yi Chen and the Samsara Legion. Looking at the dense golden scarf soldiers, Yi Chen in the white tiger's body shouted, Kill all the golden scarf soldiers here. Clean up the remaining golden scarf soldiers here. Then head to the north of the city and kill the golden scarf army there. Leave no one alive. Yi Chen did this to keep some golden scarf soldiers for the Samsara Legion to train. Yes, my lord, Lord. Zhao Yunjing, Zhao Meng, Gao Shun, and Dian Xiong saluted in unison. The white tiger nodded and leaped into the air. Then, it turned into a stream of light and disappeared in a flash. Bang bang bang! Countless explosions were heard. Wherever the light passed, the golden-scarved soldiers disappeared without exception. All that was left was the churning blood mist. More than half of the originally densely packed gold scarf army was instantly cleared out. The jaws of the soldiers on the eastern wall of the city were wide open as they looked at the golden scarf soldiers who had disappeared. So powerful. One of the soldiers swallowed his saliva with a gulp sound, and then shouted in shock. So strong, Lord Prefecture Overseer is even more powerful than the rumors, are even more powerful. Just as the soldiers on the eastern city wall were discussing in shock, the white tiger reappeared and leaped once again. Then, it turned into a ray of flowing light and charged towards the southern part of Ping City. At the same time, Zhao Yun, Dian Xiong, Gao Shun, and Zhao Meng raised their weapons and shouted, "Charge! Kill! Kill! Kill!" Deafening battle cries rang out. In the next second, the 400,000 soldiers of Samsara City rushed toward the remaining golden scarf soldiers that Yi Chen had left behind. Rumble! Tens of thousands of horses galloped and the earth trembled. Violent killing intent rose in an instant and rushed towards the golden scarf army. In a few breaths, the 400,000 soldiers arrived in front of the golden scarf army and started to kill them mercilessly. Groups of golden scarf soldiers were stabbed to death or sent flying. The 400,000 soldiers of Samsara City kept moving forward. No matter whether the golden scarf soldiers were scared or crazy, they could not stop the soldiers of Samsara City from charging forward. At the southern gate of Ping City in the northern right. Bang bang bang! The sound of bodies exploding rang out again. After a few times, the soldiers in the southern part of Ping City in the northern right were all killed, leaving only the churning blood mist in the sky. However, the white tiger did not stop there. Under the shocked gazes of the soldiers on the southern wall, it charged towards the western part of the city. At the western part of Ping City in the northern right. Reporting. General. Bad news. The soldiers in the southern part of the city were all killed by the white tiger. A terrified cry suddenly rang out. Hearing this, the general of the Golden Scarf Army narrowed his eyes and then shouted in shock, "What did you say?" The white tiger was created by Yi Chen, the general of Agile Cavalry? And he killed them all. Just as the general of the Golden Scarf Army said this, he saw a huge white tiger suddenly appear in the western part of the city. Then it jumped and turned into a flowing light, flashing away. Bang bang bang! After a series of body exploding sounds, half of the Golden Scarf Army in the western part of the city was gone. Seeing his subordinates turn into a bloody mist, the Golden Scarf Army's great general shivered. Then, he screamed with incomparable fear, "That's right, the Golden Scarf Army! Retreat! Retreat!" He wanted to leave here as fast as he could. The white tiger was so ferocious that it made him feel terrified and desperate. After shouting, he turned his horse around and ran away without hesitation. However, it was too late. He had just run a few steps when he suddenly froze. Then, in a series of explosions, he turned into a bloody mist that filled the sky. The Golden Scarf Army in the western part of Ping City in the northern right, together with the general of the Golden Scarf Army, were all killed. At this moment, the white tiger dispersed and Yi Chen and the Samsara Legion appeared. "Long live the Prefecture Overseer!" A shout came from the city wall. In the next second, earth-shattering cheers were heard. "Long live the Prefecture Overseer! Long live the Prefecture Overseer! Long live the Prefecture Overseer!" The soldiers on the city wall excitedly raised their weapons and shouted. Yi Chen couldn't help but smile when he saw the elated soldiers of Ping City on the city walls. At this moment, the earth suddenly rumbled, accompanied by the earth-shattering cries of birds. Hearing this, Yi Chen's eyes suddenly widened and he turned to the west. In the sky, countless huge birds were flying toward them, covering the sky. On the ground, there was an endless army of beasts. Seeing this, Yi Chen narrowed his eyes and a cold light flashed. Yi Chen already knew that the Yao race was gathering in Yuzhou. As for their goal, Yi Chen also knew that they were coming for Yi Chen, the most powerful person in the human race. However, there were no cities in Yuzhou that had been conquered by the Golden Scarf race or the Yao race. Otherwise, a world announcement would have been made. It was because no cities had been conquered that Yi Chun guessed that the Yao race army was still fighting with the Great Han Empire's army. However, Yi Chen did not expect the Yao race to be so bold as to charge directly toward him. Did they think that they were invincible just because they had numbers and wings? Just as Yi Chen thought of this, an extremely arrogant laugh was heard. Ha ha ha, is that human in front the most powerful person in the human race, Yi Chen? Chapter 3:15. As soon as the voice was heard, a huge black eagle with a wingspan of 100 meters suddenly swooped down with a flock of huge birds. In the blink of an eye, they arrived at a low altitude 100 meters in front of Yi Chen and stared at Yi Chen fiercely. A vulture sized up Yi Chen and the Samsara Legion, then opened its beak and shouted, "This person must be Yi Chen. Look at the equipment on those soldiers, it seems to be the human clan's diamond-level equipment. Their bodies are shiny and they are riding rhinos. Plus, this golden Pegasus, he looks very similar to the Yi Chen that the humans mentioned. Ha ha ha, we finally found Yi Chen. This time, we'll show him the power of the demon clan. Who told him to be so pretentious? His legs are mine. Hee, I'll take his arms. I'll cover his crotch. Don't fight. One bite each. Take a good look at the position before you bite." Chirp, 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 the sound of birds chirping instantly resounded throughout the sky. They were cheering and cheering for these gigantic birds. "I'll go first." After a scream, a black crow suddenly flapped its wings and flew towards Yi Chen. It was so fast that it arrived in the blink of an eye. Yi Chen smiled coldly and stabbed with the Godslayer in his right hand. It was simple, violent, and without any fancy moves. Puff! There was a sound. The Godslayer instantly pierced through the crow's beak, and then went through its body. Bang! The crow with a wingspan of 50 meters exploded into pieces in an instant. Blood-red bird meat, white bird bones, and black bird feathers splattered everywhere. Hiss! The sound of people gasping could be heard instantly. How is that possible? Although this stupid crow is not powerful, it's definitely fast enough. How could Yi Chen see its flight path clearly and kill it with one shot? What's the level of his gun? A sparrow suddenly shouted in shock. That's not the point. The point is that the crow's beak can easily crush a human's gold-level equipment. But that gun, it pierced the crow's beak with one shot. Doesn't that mean we can't get close to him? Is it dangerous as soon as I get close? The birds were discussing with each other, shocked and confused. They had never thought that Yi Chen would be able to kill Crow with a single stab. This was the first time they had fought Yi Chen. All the information they knew about Yi Chen was from other sources. They knew that Yi Chen was strong, but to be able to kill Crow who was at the same cultivation level as them, that was out of their expectations. Let's attack him together. There's something wrong with this Yi Chen. An explosive shout suddenly came from Black Eagle's mouth. Yes, attack together. In any case, if this world dies, it won't really die. It's just that its strength will be reduced. It doesn't matter. As long as we kill Yi Chen and stop him from developing further, our Fey race will always suppress the human race. That's right. As long as we keep this up, the human race will always be our food. Kill Yi Chen. Kill the number one human. Screams rang out from the huge bird's mouth. Yi Chen looked at the birds who were shouting slogans but did not move. He curled his lips in disdain. These Fey race birds were shouting slogans loudly, but none of them dared to step forward. It was obvious that these birds were not willing to lose their strength. They were afraid that they would be the next to be killed by Yi Chen. Rumble! The ground rumbled louder and louder. Although the running beast army was not as fast as the birds, they had also arrived at this moment. A huge chimpanzee suddenly stood up and looked at Yi Chen. Then it looked at Black Eagle in the sky and shouted, Black Eagle, You're becoming more and more stubborn. Black Eagle, you're getting more and more arrogant. Didn't you say that you would tear Yi Chen apart the moment you saw him? Why aren't you doing anything? Black Eagle's eyes widened when it heard this. Then, it let out a clear whistle. After the whistle, Black Eagle looked at the chimpanzee and shouted, "Idiot, can't you see that there's something wrong with the number one human? Try to sense it. This bastard state can't be sensed at all." Can't sense it? What a joke. If you can't sense it, wouldn't he have shed his mortal body? Who are you trying to scare? The chimpanzee curled its lips in disdain and roared. But then, it stopped abruptly. Can you sense it? When Black Eagle saw this, he coldly snorted and shouted, "Damn it, that's not right. Has this bastard really reached the mortal evolution state? Then why is he still in the human realm?" The chimpanzee looked at Yi Chen and narrowed its eyes. Then, it shouted angrily, "You're asking me? Who knows if he's staying in this world for the sake of the human race?" Black Eagle rolled its eyes at the chimpanzee and said. Yi Chen narrowed his eyes when he heard this. A cold light flashed across his eyes. These bastards seemed to have gotten the information of the beasts who watched Pangu split open the sky, otherwise, it was impossible for them to know about the mortal evolution state, and even more impossible for them to know that the mortal evolution state would lead to a mortal ascension. Boss, this Yi Chen, is he really at the mortal evolution state? A wild boar looked at the chimpanzee and asked in shock. I can't sense his state. Logically speaking, there are only two explanations for this situation. One is that he has no cultivation level, and the other is that his cultivation level is higher than mine. And it must be a major state. Otherwise, it's impossible to not sense it. The chimpanzee's dark face sank when it heard this. Then, if he's one state higher than us, then doesn't he know magic? A big rat suddenly thought of something and shouted in shock. Wow! As soon as the big rat's words landed, the beasts were in an uproar. He knows magic. How do we deal with him? Yes, we can't beat him at all. What should we do? Are we going to return empty-handed this time? The birds and the beasts cried out in alarm. At this moment, a roar came. Shut up! The chimpanzee stood up and glared at the beasts fiercely. The beasts stopped discussing immediately. Shut up! The Black Eagle's angry roar also sounded at this moment. The chattering of the beasts also disappeared instantly. So what if he's at the mortal evolution state? Don't forget, even if he's at the mortal evolution state, he's only one state higher than us. Even if he can use magic, he can't use it endlessly. The chimpanzee looked at Yi Chen and shouted, Chimpanzee, you are indeed smart. Black Eagle's eyes widened when he heard this, and he shouted, Shut up, D*MN bird. Hurry up and give the order. Tell your underlings to go and torture Yi Chen to death. The chimpanzee was furious when it heard this and shouted, Chimpanzee, don't keep thinking about my underlings. The same goes for you. As long as we exhaust Yi Chen's chi, he'll die for sure. The Black Eagle snorted and shouted. Yi Chen sneered when he heard this. He raised the Godslayer in his right hand and shouted, White Tiger Formation. Chapter 3:16. Kill, kill, kill. Deafening battle cries rang out instantly. In the next second, an extremely strong murderous aura appeared above the Samsara Legion and quickly condensed. Roar! After the deafening roar, a huge white tiger appeared in the sky and then fell to the ground, enveloping Yi Chen and the Samsara Legion. A tyrannical, ruthless, and murderous aura appeared on the white tiger's body. This is a white tiger? How can there be a white tiger in this world? The chimpanzee shuddered when he saw the sudden appearance of the white tiger and then shouted in shock. He felt a strong threat from the white tiger. That kind of threat made him tremble in fear, and even his soul began to tremble. Damn it, how can Yi Chen summon a white tiger? The chimpanzee's eyes suddenly shrank, and then he shouted sternly. His voice was trembling because of fear and panic. White tiger. White tiger. What do we do? The white tiger is not on the same level as us. We can't beat it. It should be fake. How can Yi Chen summon a white tiger? But that murderous aura, that pressure, it's real. What should we do? Should we retreat first? The birds and beasts were discussing in shock. At this moment, the deafening roar sounded again. Roar. In the next second, the white tiger leaped and then turned into a stream of light, disappearing in a flash. Bang, bang, bang. A series of dense explosions sounded instantly. A 2,000-meter wide and 16,000-meter long blood mist zone instantly appeared. Without exception, the army of walking beasts in this area all turned into a bloody mist that filled the sky. Looking at the long road filled with bloody mist, the birds and the remaining beasts in the sky all widened their eyes. Boss has been killed. He was killed in just one move. A wild boar demon beast cried out in horror with its two pig eyes wide open. This is too terrifying. He killed so many of them in one go. A hedgehog stuttered. Let's retreat quickly. Retreat. This Yi Chen isn't someone we can kill. That bastard is too perverted. Let's go somewhere else to kill humans and raise our strength. Then, we'll come back and settle the score with him. A giant python screamed. Retreat. Retreat. The remaining demons in the army all issued orders to retreat in panic. However, at this moment, the white tiger leapt up again and disappeared as a streak of light. Bang, bang, bang. A series of body explosions sounded again. A long path of blood mist appeared once again. In the sky, the black eagle looked at the churning blood mist on the ground, and its eyes narrowed. Clearly, he was frightened by the white tiger's ferocity. Bang, 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 bang. The sound of bodies exploding rang out over and over again. The army of beasts on the ground was wiped out one by one. After 5 times, the army of beasts on the ground had all turned into a bloody mist. The black eagle looked at the army of beasts on the ground that had turned into a bloody mist. Fear flashed in its eyes, but it was quickly replaced by ruthlessness. This white tiger probably can't stay in the air. Otherwise, we would definitely be the first to be attacked. As soon as the black eagle finished speaking, the demonic beasts in the army of birds looked at each other with excitement in their eyes. Boss, no matter how powerful this white tiger is, it can't deal with us in the air. What's there to be afraid of? Let's go kill his soldiers. That's right. Let's go kill Yi Chen's soldiers. We can't defeat Yi Chen, but his soldiers can. Let's kill all his soldiers and destroy his territory. That way, he won't be able to continue developing his forces. That's right. Even if we can't kill Yi Chen, we have to disgust him to death. Once we become stronger, we'll kill Yi Chen. Actually, there's no need to be afraid. No matter how powerful Yi Chen is, he can't really kill us. Even if we die, we can revive. We can just eat some people and our strength will return. Let's go. Let's go deal with Yi Chen's soldiers. Let's eat up all of Yi Chen's soldiers. We, the bird race, are the strongest. The black eagle opened its eyes and shouted. We, the bird race, are the strongest. A series of shouts sounded. Rumble. 10,000 horses galloped and the earth trembled. Zhao Yun, Dian Xiong, Gao Shun, and Zhao Meng led an army of 400,000 to the west of the city. Following them were countless other players. Damn! There are too many birds in the sky. These are the demons that gathered in Yuzhou? Why are they all flying in the sky? Don't you see the endless bloody mist over there? Those beasts running on the ground must have been killed by Yi Chen. Damn, it's really… the birds in the sky don't seem to have lost many? Could it be that the white tiger that Yi Chen summoned can't deal with the birds in the sky? Of course. Think about it, the tiger is only running on the ground. How can it deal with the birds in the sky? In the sky, the black eagle saw the sudden appearance of the Samsara city army and laughed maniacally. Ha ha ha, I didn't even have to put in the effort. Attack. Kill them all. Change to bows and arrows! Zhao Yunjing, Dian Xiong, Gao Shun, and Zhao Meng shouted. Swoosh! The 400,000 Samsara city soldiers put down the refined steel and spears in their hands and took out the requiem bows. They knocked the arrows on the bowstrings and pulled the bowstrings hard, aiming at the sky. When the players saw this, they looked at each other. Those who had bows changed their bows, and those who didn't took out their weapons and aimed at the sky nervously. Damn, I haven't killed a demon before. I don't know if I can kill one. I heard that. The items dropped are super good. They must have dropped good items and a lot of experience points. Didn't you see those shiny items in the bloody mist? Those were dropped by Yi Chen when he killed a demon. They are at least diamond level equipment. If it's a skill, it's at least king level. I say, should we take the opportunity to steal some? If we can get it, it'll be worth it even if we die. Are you stupid? Did you forget? Those who were killed by Yi Chen will die in real life. If you want to die, go ahead. I'm just saying. There are so many good items. I'm envious. Don't do anything stupid. If you want to steal, go ahead. Don't drag us down. Don't forget that we're here to get benefits from Yi Chen. Just as the players were discussing, the deafening chirping of birds sounded. At this moment, the flying demons in the sky suddenly swooped down towards the 400,000 Samsara city soldiers and the endless number of players. Kaboom! The earth rumbled. At the same time, a golden light pierced through the bloody mist and arrived in front of the 400,000 Samsara city soldiers. In the next second, a fiery red pearl appeared. Buzz! A mysterious trembling sound was instantly heard. Chapter 317. Boom boom boom. Dense bursts of explosions rang out. The arrows of the 400,000 soldiers of Samsara City all had balls of scorching flames on them. When Zhao Yun, Dian Xiong, Gao Shun, and Zhao Meng saw this, their eyes lit up. Then, they all shouted at the same time. Fire! Tighten, tighten, tighten! The bowstring was released, and the arrow was released. Whoosh, whoosh. 400,000 arrows were shot towards the flying army that was diving down from the sky. The fiery red flames instantly lit up the sky. Not good. Hide. A cry of alarm came from the leader of the bird army, the Black Eagle. He was not afraid of ordinary arrows. His feathers could completely ignore gold-level arrows. Even diamond-level arrows could not kill him. However, the terrifying density of the arrows gave him a feeling of extreme danger. The source of the danger was the flames on the arrows. However, it was too late. The bird army had already started to dive down, so how could they change direction so easily? Furthermore, the arrows were extremely fast. In an instant, the arrows were shot into the diving bird army. Poochie, poochie, poochie. The sound of arrows piercing into flesh could be heard. Almost at the same time, the sound of explosions rang out. Boom, boom, boom. The 400,000 birds in the sky were instantly turned into fireballs. Incomparably mournful and miserable shrieks rang out one after another. In merely a breath's time, there were no more signs of life. Then, 400,000 fireballs fell to the ground. In the blink of an eye, 400,000 of the bird army had been wiped out. Without exception, all of them were monstrous beasts that led the army of birds. That was because they were too good at acting cool. They were the closest to him, and they were the first to dive down. It would be hard for them not to die. How could this be? Our feathers are as hard as steel, how could they be pierced so easily? Damn it, why are Yi Chen's soldiers so perverted? Motherf ***, how are we supposed to fight? We can't even go up. The remaining bird-type demonic beasts hurriedly stopped their dive, and then flew to a higher altitude, discussing with each other in an indescribable panic. As for the bird army, they were so frightened by this ferocious scene that they hurriedly flapped their wings, not daring to continue diving down. On the ground, the players were dumbfounded as they looked at the 400,000 flying beasts that were killed in an instant. Gasps could be heard everywhere. This. Boss Yi Chen's troops are too awesome. Those who have killed Flying Fei said that killing Flying Fei took a lot of effort. Furthermore, it took a group of people a while to kill one. Diamond-grade equipment is that awesome? I don't think so. Did you see the pearl floating in front of Boss Yi Chen? It should be the pearl's ability. Just as the flying demon race players and the human race players were discussing, the fire spirit pearl floating in front of Yi Chen vibrated again. At the same time, the 400,000 soldiers of Samsara City drew their bows again. Boom, boom, boom. The flames instantly attached to the arrows of the 400,000 soldiers of Samsara City. Shoot! Zhao Yun, Dian Xiong, Gao Shun, and Zhao Meng shouted in unison. Stretch, stretch, stretch. The bowstring was released, and the arrow was released. So. 400,000 flaming arrows appeared once again and shot towards the flying army of the demon clan. The leader of the flying demon race army, Black Eagle, who did not participate in the attack, looked at Yi Chen on the ground after his 400,000 subordinates were killed. When he saw the fire spirit pearl vibrate suddenly and the arrows of Samsara City were attached to the flames, he immediately realized the reason. His eyes narrowed and he shouted in shock. Quick! Fly higher! These arrows have a long attack range. Don't touch them! As soon as Black Eagle finished speaking, all the flying demon race army flew higher into the sky without exception. However, no matter how fast they flew, they were not as fast as the arrows that left the bowstring. Poochie, poochie, poochie. The sound of arrows piercing flesh could be heard. In the next second, screams of agony could be heard as the 400,000 fireballs fell to the ground. The remaining flying demon race army and the remaining flying demon race army flew higher when they saw this. What is that? Black Eagle shouted in horror. He then looked at the fire spirit pearl floating in front of Yi Chen. No, this is not something from the human world at all. Black Eagle suddenly thought of something when he saw the fiery red pearl that was constantly spinning, and then shouted in shock. At this moment, a huge macaw suddenly flew over and shouted, "Boss, I found Reincarnation City." Hearing this, Black Eagle's eyes lit up and he shouted without hesitation. Yi Chen was able to hurt us because of that bead. Don't be afraid. Go to Samsara City. Destroy the Samsara City. Take revenge. When the remaining flying demonic beasts heard the Black Eagle's explanation, they finally reacted. The root of all this was Yi Chen. They were all enraged. I see. Let's go. Let's destroy Samsara City. I'm going to kill everyone in Samsara City. Eat it all. Damn it. We're going to raze Samsara City to the ground. Go. To Samsara City. The remaining bird-type demonic beasts of the demon clan shouted one by one. They were going to destroy Samsara City. Only by destroying Samsara City could they vent their anger and the fear in their hearts. In the next second, the sound of wings flapping could be heard. The flying demon race army rose to the sky again. Yi Chen smiled coldly as he looked at the flying beast army rising into the air once again. Good thinking. Unfortunately, the ballistae in Samsara City were not to be trifled with. Even without the support of the fire spirit pearl, the ballistae's attack power could easily destroy the flying demon race army in the sky. Moreover, they could kill a bunch of them at a time. Moreover, how could I let you attack Samsara City so easily? At this thought, Yi Chen narrowed his eyes. He then rode his horse and prepared to return to Samsara City first. At this moment, a strange feeling appeared in Yi Chen's mind. Yi Chen was stunned when he realized this. He then patted Little Gold's head and ordered it to stay where it was. On the ground, Zhao Yun, Dian Xiong, Gao Shun, Zhao Meng, and the 400,000 soldiers of Samsara City were all furious when they heard the shouts of the flying demon race army. The 400,000 soldiers of Samsara City knocked their bows and drew their arrows, ready to attack the flying demon race army in the sky. At this moment, Zhao Yunjing, Dian Xiong, Gao Shun and Zhao Meng all shouted at the same time. Stop! The 400,000 soldiers of Samsara City were all stunned. At this moment, a muffled rumble came from afar and quickly approached them. Rumble! The Samsara Legion had arrived, bringing with them an extremely tyrannical killing intent that soared into the clouds. They also heard the words of the flying demonic beasts in the sky. Samsara City was their home. It was the foundation of their lord, Yi Chen. At this moment, the flying demon race army in the sky was obviously going to wreak havoc in Samsara City. How could the Samsara Legion not be angry and anxious? When the Samsara Legion was 1,000 meters away from Yi Chen, the fire spirit pearl suddenly shook. In the next second, the Samsara Legion and Yi Chen were covered in flames. An indescribable feeling rose in Yi Chen's mind. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chen. The Samsara Legion has comprehended the innate battle formation, the Vermilion Bird Battle Formation. Chapter 3:18. Once the system's notification ended, Yi Chen's eyes widened. The Connate Battle Formation, one of the 4 symbols, the Vermilion Bird Battle Formation. He didn't expect it to be this. Thinking of this, Yi Chen glanced at the fire spirit pearl floating in front of him, and the corner of his mouth curled up. Without this fire spirit pearl, he might not have been able to comprehend the Vermilion Bird Battle Formation. Just as Yi Chen thought, the fire spirit pearl was the key to activating the Vermilion Bird Battle Formation. Without it, the Samsara Legion would not have been able to comprehend the Vermilion Bird Battle Formation. Unlike the White Tiger Battle Formation, the key to the Vermilion Bird Battle Formation was fire. The fire spirit pearl was a Connate's spiritual treasure and could control all flames in the world. After sensing the opportunity of the Vermilion Bird Battle Formation, the fire spirit pearl automatically helped Yi Chen and opened the path for the Samsara Legion to comprehend the Vermilion Bird Battle Formation. The process was very smooth, and the Samsara Legion instantly comprehended the Vermilion Bird Battle Formation. Looking at the Samsara Legion that was covered in flames but not harmed, Yi Chen raised his eyebrows and raised the Godslayer in his right hand. Vermilion Bird Battle Formation. Kill! 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 Deafening shouts rang out. In the next second, an intense killing aura accompanied the burning flames on the Samsara Legion. Boom! They shot into the sky. At the same time, the fire spirit pearl on Yi Chen's body was wrapped in even hotter flames and shot into the sky. The flames in the sky gathered and started to pull and change shape. After a few breaths of time, a fiery red bird appeared in the sky. It was surrounded by raging flames and looked extremely beautiful. The moment he saw the fiery red bird, Yi Chen's eyes widened. Vermilion bird. At this moment, the vermilion bird opened its eyes. Its eyes were red, burning, and burning. At the same time, the burning flames around the vermilion bird were like boiling water, boiling and causing the air to crackle. Roar! A long cry that had existed for a very long time suddenly took place. It was like a blade of space-time that swept across the past and present. What is that? One of the players shouted in shock when he saw the vermilion bird in the sky. That's the vermilion bird? One of them gulped and then shouted. It should be the vermilion bird. Yi Chen can summon the white tiger. The white tiger is one of the 4 great mythological beasts. I've never seen Yi Chen summon this huge bird before. Now that it's out and it's so powerful, it should be the vermilion bird without a doubt. Someone stammered as he looked at the vermilion bird in the sky in shock. Yi Chen is so strong. In the sky, the flying army shuddered the moment the vermilion bird appeared. A large number of ferocious beasts stiffened and fell to the ground. They were afraid of the white tiger's might, but it wasn't to the extent that their bodies were stiff and they couldn't even flap their wings. But now that the vermilion bird appeared, the souls of the flying army of the demon race began to tremble. It was a fear that came from the depths of their souls. It was a fear that came from the inferior beings facing the superior beings. The vermilion bird was one of the 4 great mythological beasts. It was many times more powerful than these silly birds. How could they not be afraid? How could they not be afraid? Boss, what should we do? Yi Chen actually summoned the vermilion bird. A sparrow shouted in horror. This bastard can even summon the vermilion bird. Then, are we still going to Reincarnation City? A vulture stammered. I think we should run first. If we don't run, it'll be bad. The vermilion bird is not something that we can deal with. A parrot shouted in panic. Retreat. Hurry up and retreat. The leader of the flying army roared as he looked at the vermilion bird that was emitting a powerful aura. On the ground, Yi Chen looked at the birds that were falling to the ground. He smiled coldly and shouted, "Kill all the birds that fell to the ground." "Yes, my lord." Zhao Yun, Dian Xiong, Gao Shun, and Zhao Meng shouted in unison. Yi Chen nodded. With a thought, the vermilion bird in the sky instantly spread its wings and swooped down. In the next second, Yi Chen and the Samsara Legion were enveloped in it. Then, the vermilion bird looked up at the sky. Screech! The deafening cry that had transcended the past and present echoed once again. In the next second, the vermilion bird spread its wings and reached a height of 10,000 meters in the blink of an eye. Looking at the flying army of the demon clan fleeing in panic, the vermilion bird's scarlet, blazing eyes that could burn everything showed a strong sense of disdain. In the next second, the vermilion bird spread its wings and disappeared in a flash with flames all over the sky. Boom! 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 The sound of flames exploding in an instant rang out. The flying army of the demon clan fleeing in the sky instantly turned into a moving sea of fire. The flying army of the demon clan blotted out the sky and the sun. In an instant, the entire sky was dyed red. The shrill screeches of birds rang out in waves and then disappeared into nothingness. The flames were merciless and burned everything. Even monsters as strong as the black eagle couldn't withstand the flames for even a second. On the ground, the players who were about to attack the flying army of the demon clan widened their eyes and gasped. The scene in the sky was too shocking. The flying army of the demon clan that blotted out the sky as far as the eye could see was instantly set ablaze. Everywhere they looked was filled with flames. The merciless flames lit up the sky and stunned all the players. This is so terrifying. The flying army of the demon clan was annihilated just like that, a player said in a daze. Yi Chen is really awesome. I can't help but admire him. Are we still going to take advantage of the situation? Of course, why not? We just need to kill those flying army of the demon clan that are outside the attack range of the demon clan. Anyway, those flying army of the demon clan didn't fall to their death. If we don't kill them, they might just run away after they recover. Yes, that's right. Yi Chen won't use the vermilion bird for such trash. We just need to help kill them. Yi Chen won't be angry over this. Remember, don't King pick up the items that Yi Chen drop. Otherwise, if you anger Yi Chen, you won't have a good ending. Damn it, I'm not that stupid. We can pick up the things that Yi Chen doesn't want, but if we pick up the things that Yi Chen wants, wouldn't we be looking for trouble? Rumble. 10,000 horses galloped and the earth shook. Zhao Yun, Gao Shun, Dian Xiong, and Zhao Meng led the 400,000-strong army of Samsara City. They galloped and galloped, stabbing the struggling flying army of the demon clan on the ground with their spears again and again. These flying army of the demon clan were frightened by the vermilion bird's aura and couldn't fly anymore. Because of their strong bodies, they didn't fall to their death. However, they couldn't fly back up even if they wanted to. Wave after wave of flying army of the demon clan was killed by the Samsara City army. Ding ding dang dang. The sound of items dropping rang out in the air. At the same time, the flying army of the demon clan cried out in despair. Chapter 319. In the Sky. After burning for 3 seconds, the sky was completely engulfed in flames. The flying demon clan army that had blotted out the sky a moment ago was now reduced to ashes and scattered with the wind. Yi Chen glanced at the empty sky and the corners of his mouth curled up involuntarily. In the sky, the vermilion bird's attack range was really fierce. It was a pity that the vermilion bird battle formation couldn't be used for a long time like the white tiger battle formation, but it was good enough that it could be used 3 times. Thinking of this, Yi Chen raised his eyebrows. At this moment, the vermilion bird's body lit up with the light of leveling up. At this moment, Yi Chen was also enveloped by the light of leveling up twice in a row. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chen for reaching level 100. Hearing the system's notification, Yi Chen raised his eyebrows. The demon race really had a lot of experience points. Just as Yi Chen finished thinking, the system's notification sounded again. Ding! Reminder to player Yi Chen. If you continue to stay in the Three Kingdoms beginners area, you will not be able to level up anymore. You can only accumulate experience points. Do you want to ascend to the Eldritch world immediately? Hearing this, Yi Chen could not help but raise his eyebrows. He didn't expect to be able to continue accumulating experience points. This was great. If he could accumulate enough experience points, his strength would skyrocket when he ascended to the Eldritch world. Thinking of this, Yi Chen made his choice without hesitation. No. Ding! Player Yi Chen automatically activated experience points accumulation until ascending to the Eldritch world. Once the system's notification ended, the world's announcement sounded. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chen for being the first to reach the maximum level of 100. You are rewarded with innate attribute points x10. The world's announcement was repeated 3 times in a row. It instantly caused an uproar in the world channel. F***CK. Are you kidding me? Level 100? After level 90, leveling up is as slow as a dog. It's been a month and I haven't even leveled up once. And Yi Chen is already at level 100? Cheating. This is F***King cheating. It's not cheating. The idiot next door is live streaming himself eating shit. Cheating? Did you see how many demons boss Yi Chen killed? If you don't see it, then don't compete. Also, go take a look at the merit list and see who's first on it. Holy shit, Yi Chen is first on the merit leaderboard. Motherf***ker, 89 million merit points? How many demons have I killed? It seems like a demon only gets 1 or 2 points of merit. Even the most powerful ones only get 3 points of merit. F***CK. Yi Chen's merit points are still soaring. 90 million. Motherf***ker, I was wondering why Yi Chen is already level 100. After killing so many shifters, it would be weird if he didn't level up. You should know that shifters are EXP babies. Damn, the shifters are still treasure chests. They'll drop good stuff after killing them. Damn, Yi Chen is going to strike it rich again. Those from Yuzhou province, go rob them. Yi Chen has just killed so many demons. He definitely won't have time to pick them up. Let's go and snatch them. We'll be rich if we get a king-tier cultivation technique. Yes, go and snatch them. Don't be afraid. You have more people. F***CK off, you idiot. Don't compete. If you dare, come and snatch them. Do you think we're stupid? Why bother with this idiot? We're satisfied as long as we follow boss Yi Chen. Moreover, it's not like we can't get anything good. The world channel was abuzz. Yi Chen glanced at it and smiled coldly. Those players who encouraged the Yuzhou players to snatch the items dropped by the shifters were simply jealous. They were egging others on to sabotage the Yuzhou players. Regardless of whether it was before or after the meteor fell, such people existed, and there were quite a few of them. However, Yi Chen really didn't care. He wasn't afraid. If they dared to snatch, go ahead. If they did, they had to be prepared to die. Yi Chen would never be soft-hearted towards such people. Of course, the Yuzhou players didn't try to snatch the items dropped by the shifters. It wasn't that they didn't want to, but they didn't dare to. It was because they were afraid. They were afraid that Yi Chen would kill them in real life. They were afraid that they wouldn't be able to continue following Yi Chen. Yi Chen was very clear about this point and understood it very well. Yi Chen didn't care about the players killing the shifters that had fallen to the ground. There weren't many of them, so Yi Chen didn't care about them at all. Looking at the ground, Vermilion Bird spread its wings and swooped down. After landing, Vermilion Bird disappeared. Yi Chen and the Samsara Legion appeared in its place. At this moment, a powerful aura suddenly appeared above the Samsara Legion. It became stronger and stronger. Seeing this, Yi Chen couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. The Samsara Legion had broken through to the Emperor level. The battlefield was indeed a good place to train soldiers. Thinking of this, Yi Chen smiled and looked at the 400,000 soldiers of Samsara City who were still killing the shifters. This time, the level of the 400,000 soldiers would definitely increase rapidly. It wouldn't be long before they could learn king-level cultivation techniques. Just as Yi Chen finished thinking, the city gate of Ping City opened with a creak. The general of the city guard led a man dressed like a scholar out of the city and rushed toward Yi Chen. Not long after, the two of them arrived in front of Yi Chen. They dismounted from their horses and bowed. Qing Pu Tianqiu of Yuzhou greets the general of Agile Cavalry. When Yi Chen heard this, he was stunned. Qing Pu Tianqiu F***CK. A first-rate historical general and a first-rate historical civil official. Thinking of this, Yi Chen's eyes lit up. He nodded and asked, "How are the casualties?" Qing Pu hurriedly bowed and said, "General of Agile Cavalry, 8,000 soldiers died and countless were injured. Fortunately, General of Agile Cavalry arrived in time. Otherwise, Ping City would have been razed to the ground and no one would have survived." When Qing Pu said this, he glanced at Yi Chen. Then, with a bang, he knelt down on one knee. "I'm guilty. Please punish me, General of Agile Cavalry." When Yi Chen heard this, he was stunned. What was going on? While Yi Chen was puzzled, Tianqiu bowed to Yi Chen and said, "Reporting to the General of Cavalry, the General of Ping City in the right north and all the officials abandoned the city and fled, and the Golden Turban Army was at the city gate. Brother Qing had no choice but to take the position of the General of Ping City in private. Although this is inappropriate, there is a reason for it. Please investigate it clearly." Yi Chen instantly came to a realization after hearing this. F***CK. No wonder Qing Pu called himself a commoner. It turned out to be the case. Thinking of this, Yi Chen could not help but smile. He took a few steps forward and helped Qing Pu up. He patted Qing Pu's shoulder and said, "You're not guilty. The guilty one is the shameful one who abandoned the city and fled. Qing Pu, you're brave and resourceful. I'm lacking talents. Are you willing to follow me?" Hearing this, Qing Pu was stunned and then overjoyed. He knelt on one knee without hesitation and said loudly, "Qing Pu is willing to follow my lord." Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chen for obtaining the loyalty of the first-rate historical general, Qing Pu. Chapter 320. Yi Chen's eyes lit up when he heard the system's notification. "Damn, this Golden Turban Rebellion is really good. I've taken in one historical general after another. Qing Pu is also a navy general. Including Han Dang, there are two. Not bad, not bad." Thinking of this, Yi Chen could not help but raise his eyebrows. He then helped Qing Pu up and said with a smile, he smiled and said, "It's my fortune to be able to receive Qing Pu's help." Qing Pu was overjoyed when he heard this. He could hear the importance in Yi Chen's words. It was precisely because he could hear it that he was overjoyed and excited. After all, Yi Chen was the great Han Empire's general of swift cavalry, the governor of Yuzhou. This was a genuine overlord-level existence. And Qing Pu was just a commoner. At most, he was a commoner with martial arts. He couldn't compare to Yi Chen at all. In addition, Qing Pu had seen with his own eyes Yi Chen summon the White Tiger to destroy the beasts of the demon race. He had also summoned the vermilion bird to destroy the flying beasts of the demon race. Yi Chen's tyrannical and unparalleled ability had already completely convinced Qing Pu. It was also at that moment that Qing Pu's heart to follow Yi Chen became unshakable. And now, Yi Chen had taken the initiative to take him in as a subordinate. From his words, he could tell that he valued him greatly. How could Qing Pu not be excited? How could he not be excited? Trying hard to calm his excited heart, Qing Pu solemnly bowed and said, "It is a great fortune to be able to follow the Lord. This general swears to follow the Lord until death. If I violate this oath, may the heavens and earth destroy me." Ding. Qing Pu's loyalty +10. Advanced to loyal. Hearing this, Yi Chen couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. Not bad, not bad. Another loyal subordinate. Yi Chen had just finished thinking when the world announcement sounded. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chen for being the fifth to obtain the loyalty of a first-rate historical general, Qing Pu. Because of his special status, player Yi Chen is specially rewarded with 10 million gold. The world announcement was repeated 3 times in a row, instantly causing the video channels that had just calmed down to explode again. Motherf **Kerr, are you kidding me? Yi Chen has just reached level 100, and now he's taken in a first-rate historical general. Motherf **Kerr, is Yi Chen planning to take away all the historical generals? Cheating. Goddammit, this isn't how it should be played. Other people haven't even gotten a third-rate historical figure, but they've already gotten a bunch of first-rate figures like Yi Chen, not to mention super first-rate ones. First, it was Han Dang. Now, it's Qing Pu. Damn, Yi Chen is going to destroy Dong Yuwu in the future. The navy of Samsara City was originally a weak point, but now it's gone. Sigh, this is such a pain in the ass. I've been trying my best to develop the navy. I thought I could show off on the water and get some benefits. Motherf **Kerr, it's over now. Sigh, I know. I also built my territory by the river and developed a navy. I thought Yi Chen couldn't threaten me at all. Now, Samsara City has 2 more navy generals, and they're first-rate historical generals. If Yi Chen brings his troops over, should I **King run away or surrender? Surrender my ass. What's there to be afraid of? No matter how strong Yi Chen is, he's just one person. If they all work together and use their underlings to fight against Yi Chen's troops, then Yi Chen won't be able to hold on. Don't talk nonsense. After Yi Chen summons the White Tiger, Motherf **Kerr, he'll kill a lot of people. Who the **CK can resist him? The World Channel was very lively. Yi Chen glanced at it and then curled his lips in disdain. The players were envious and jealous. This wasn't something Yi Chen could control. Moreover, Yi Chen didn't intend to control it. As long as they didn't cause trouble for Yi Chen couldn't be bothered. If they caused trouble for Yi Chen wouldn't hesitate to kill them all. Qing Pu is following me. As for Tian Chou, he's a bit difficult to deal with in history. Tian Chou seemed to be a hermit. Thinking of this, Yi Chen looked at Tian Chou. Just as he was about to speak, Tian Chou bowed and said, "Tian Chou is willing to follow my lord. Please take me in." When Yi Chen heard this, he was stunned. Yi Chen didn't expect Tian Chou to take the initiative to join him. Originally, Yi Chen was thinking about how to recruit Tian Chou. Who would have thought that Tian Chou would take the initiative to join him? In fact, Tian Chou was still very young and didn't intend to live in seclusion. Most importantly, Yuzhou was Yi Chen's territory. Tian Chou had heard of Yi Chen's prowess. Like Qing Pu, Tian Chou also had the intention to follow Yi Chen. However, after Yi Chen was promoted to Yuzhou Overseer and General of Agile Cavalry, the Golden Turban Rebellion broke out before he could meet the Yuzhou officials. As a result, Tian Chou was unable to meet Yi Chen. Now Tian Chou met Yi Chen. Not only did he meet Yi Chen, but he also saw Yi Chen's tyrannical, domineering, and unparalleled strength. Tian Chou's heart became unshakable. Yi Chen didn't know the specific situation at first, but now, how could he not know? Of course, it wasn't important. What was important was that Tian Cho took the initiative to acknowledge him as his master. To Yi Chen, be it historical civil officials or historical generals, the more the better. At this moment, the system's prompt sounded. Ding. Congratulations to player Yi Chen. First-class historical official, Tian Cho, wants to acknowledge you as his master. Do you accept? After hearing the system's prompt, Yi Chen opened his eyes and made the choice without hesitation. Accept. Ding. Congratulations to player Yi Chen for gaining the loyalty of first-class historical official, Tian Cho. After hearing the system's prompt, Yi Chen couldn't help raising his eyebrows. He hurried forward, helped Tian Cho up, and then laughed loudly. It's my honor to be able to get Tian Cho's help. Hearing this, Tian Cho was overjoyed and then bowed solemnly. Tian Cho pays respect to the Lord. Yi Chen said the same words as he said to Qing Pu, but how could Tian Cho not understand the importance in Yi Chen's words? It was because of this that Tian Cho was moved. Because at this moment, he didn't have much of a reputation, but Yi Chen was the Lord of Yuzhou, the general of agile cavalry. His status and reputation were countless times higher than Tian Cho's. To be recognized and valued by such an existence, Tian Cho was naturally happy from the bottom of his heart. Ding. Tian Cho's loyalty plus 10, promoted to loyal. Hearing the system's prompt, Yi Chen couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. Not bad, subordinates, especially loyal subordinates, the more the better. Thinking of this, Yi Chen couldn't help but smile. At this moment, the system's prompt sounded. Ding. Congratulations to player Yi Chen for being the second person to gain the loyalty of first-class historical official, Tian Cho. Because of his status as a famous scholar, player Yi Chen is specially rewarded with 10 million gold. The system's prompt was repeated 3 times, and the whole world channel exploded again. Motherf asterisk Kerr, I'm going to flip the table. Do you have to be so perverted? That's right, Motherf asterisk Kerr. He just recruited Qing Pu, and now he recruited Tian Cho. Although Tian Cho isn't that famous in history, he's still a first-class historical official. Motherf asterisk Kerr. Now that Yi Chen has more historical officials under his command, Yi Chen doesn't need to worry about Yuzhou at all. All of a sudden, Yi Chen has more time to wander around. Motherf asterisk Kerr, those lords are really useless. How long has it been? No one has recruited a historical official. Let alone a first-class or second-class official, even a first-class official would be fine. If this goes on, they will all be recruited by Yi Chen. Chapter 321. The World Channel was in an uproar because Yi Chen had recruited 2 first-class historical figures in a row. All kinds of comments flooded the screen. It was very lively. Yi Chen glanced at the World Channel and raised his eyebrows involuntarily. Envy all you want. If I can recruit them all, I won't leave any of them behind. Thinking of this, Yi Chen immediately looked at Qing Pu and Tian Cho and said, From now on, you 2 are temporarily in charge of Ping City in the north. Qing Pu is in charge of the military and Tian Cho is in charge of the administration. After the world is pacified, your official positions will be confirmed. Hearing this, Qing Pu and Tian Cho were overjoyed. They bowed and said, Yes, my lord. With Yi Chen's appointment, they were legitimate officials. They didn't have to worry about being talked about behind their backs, or even being told on. Moreover, it also meant that they were officially the core members of Samsara City. For them, this was a joyous event. How could they not be happy and excited? Yi Chen nodded with a smile. Then he looked at Guiyi, who was riding a horse, and said, Fengshao, give Qing Pu a copy of the notice written by Liaoshi City. Yes, my lord. Hearing this, Guiyi smiled and bowed. Then he turned over and dismounted. He took out a notice from his arms and looked at Qing Pu and Tian Cho. Guo had just seen them, so he naturally didn't know who was who. Seeing this, Ching Pu hurriedly cupped his hands and said, Ching Pu of Yuzhou, Ching Demu greets Chancellor Guo. Tian Chou of Yuzhou, Tian Zitai greets Chancellor Guo. Tian Chou also hurriedly cupped his hands and saluted at this time. Hearing this, Guo smiled and cupped his hands in return, saying, Inchuan Guo Guofengshao greets Brother Demu and Brother Zitai. After Guo finished speaking, he handed the notice to Ching Pu and then said, Brother Demu, this is the policy that my lord wants to implement in the whole Yuzhou. Brother Demu, please don't be soft-hearted. Hearing this, Ching Pu couldn't help being stunned. After coming to his senses, he hurriedly took the notice, opened it, and read it. Ching Pu opened his eyes after the time it took to drink a cup of tea. He handed the notice to Tian Chou. Then, he looked at Yi Chen and bowed. Your Majesty cares about the common people, and is not afraid of the landowning gentry. This is the blessing of Yuzhou and the Han dynasty. When Yi Chen heard this, he couldn't help but smile. I'll leave this matter to you and Zitai. Don't be soft-hearted. Don't worry, my lord. I will do my best. I will not let the people in Ping City starve, and I will not let anyone disobey you in Ping City. Ching Pu nodded his head heavily and then bowed to Lin Fan. Obviously, not only did Ching Pu see through Yi Chen's intention to help the people, but he also saw through Yi Chen's intention to get rid of all the disobedient people. Otherwise, Ching Pu would not have said it so bluntly. He was making a military order to Yi Chen. When Yi Chen heard this, he couldn't help but smile. Then, he said, very well. Go ahead and do it. No one is allowed to violate the law in Yuzhou. For Yi Chen, the gentry who disobeyed the notice was a criminal. They made money from disasters. They had no conscience. Their hearts were so black that they stank. If they were left in Yuzhou, how could Yuzhou be peaceful? If Yi Chen didn't use thunderous means, these gentry would unite to resist Yi Chen's other orders in the future when their interests were threatened. Yi Chen was very sure about this. Therefore, Yi Chen raised his butcher's knife and killed those disobedient gentry to solve all the problems and avoid future troubles. Yes, my lord. My lord. Ching Pu nodded heavily. At this moment, Tian Chou finished reading the notice and exhaled deeply. Then, he looked at Yi Chen and bowed, saying, My lord, this humble one will return to Ping City in the right north and copy the notice and post it in the streets and alleys. The people have been hungry for a day. If we wait any longer, I'm afraid there will be more troubles. Yi Chen nodded and then said, Go ahead. In addition, cooperate with De Mao to recruit soldiers. Their aptitude is at least Class C. Replenish the soldiers lost in Ping City in the right north and treat the wounded soldiers with all your strength. Give the dead soldiers a grand funeral and pay the pensions in full. Hearing this, Tian Chou's expression became somewhat unnatural. Ching Pu glanced at Tian Chou and hesitated for a moment. Then, he looked at Yi Chen and bowed, saying, My lord, the treasury of Ping City in the right north is empty. The soldiers' rations have been delayed for 3 months. Hearing this, Yi Chen suddenly frowned and then shouted in a deep voice, What are the names of those bastards who ran away? Where is their ancestral home? My lord, the officials of Ping City in the right north, who abandoned the city and ran away, were surrounded by the Golden Turban Army not long after they left the city. They were all killed. Ching Pu was stunned and then bowed and said, They got off easy. Yi Chen snorted and waved his right hand. Then, 10 boxes of gold coins appeared on the spot. Pointing at the 10 boxes of gold coins on the ground, Yi Chen said in a deep voice, Give the soldiers the money you gave them. Distribute all the provisions that have not been distributed to the soldiers, regardless of whether they died in battle or not. Those who were injured will be compensated with 1 gold coin, and those who died in battle will be given a pension of 10 gold coins. The Samsara city will take care of their entire families. In addition, speed up the purchase of the food in the hands of the nobles. Kill those who do not obey. Ching Pu and Tian Chou were both stunned when they heard this. When they saw that Yi Chen was angry, they thought that Yi Chen was also in a difficult position. However, it was not the case at all. Yi Chen was angry because of those officials who abandoned the city and ran away, not because the treasury was empty. Otherwise, why would Yi Chen directly take out 10 boxes of gold? They were not enough to spend. Even if they were used to purchase food from the gentry, they would not be able to spend it all. And all this told Qing Pu and Tian Chou one thing. Their lord loved the soldiers and the people. He was a man of his words. There was no falsehood. And such a lord was the most perfect one in their hearts. Phew, phew. Qing Pu and Tian Chou exhaled at the same time and then bowed together. This lowly general swears to follow my lord to the death. If I violate this oath, may the heavens and the earth destroy me. Hearing this, Yi Chen could not help but smile and then said, Go. Don't let the soldiers continue to be disappointed and the people continue to starve. Yes, Lord. My lord. Qing Pu and Tian Chou shuddered when they heard this, then bowed deeply in response. After that, the two called for soldiers to carry the 10 boxes of gold on the ground back to Ping City in the right north. Rumble! Thousands of horses galloped and the earth shook. At this time, the 400,000 soldiers of Samsara City finally killed all the flying monsters on the ground. Then, under the lead of Zhao Yun, Zhao Meng, Gao Shun, and Dian Xiong, they came to Yi Chen. Swoosh! Zhao Yun, Dian Xiong, Gao Shun, Zhao Meng, and the 400,000 soldiers of Samsara City dismounted at the same time. Then, they knelt on one knee and bowed loudly. Greetings, Lord! The 400,000 soldiers shouted in unison and the sky buzzed. Yi Chen smiled and nodded. Then, he looked at Zhao Yun, Zhao Meng, Gao Shun, and Dian Xiong and said, Clean up the battlefield. Take away all the items above the gold level and cultivation method. Anyone who dares to come close to the battlefield will be killed. Yes, Lord. Zhao Yun, Dian Xiong, Gao Shun, and Zhao Meng bowed in unison and then ran to pass on the order. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.